presentation of Fox Sports.
We are the Fourth. We are Wisconsin.
And we open up a window from the Cactus League. Night baseball tonight. Spring training coming your way from the beautiful Salt River Fields in Scottsdale, Arizona. The spring training home of the Arizona Diamondbacks. It's the Brewers and the Diamondbacks tonight. And many of the regular faces you'll see when we hit opening day in the lineup tonight for the Brew Crew. And hi, everybody. We welcome you from Talking Stick at Salt River Fields. Brian Anderson along with Bill Schroeder. Great to have you with us. And we've got a night game, which is a little bit unusual this time of the year.
Yeah, that's good. I think you would think that there'd be more night games as the regular season approaches, but the lights aren't quite as good as they are in the regular seasons. I think that's why they don't do that. But the routine is a lot different during the night, and it's good that they have a game like this here.
Yeah, all the pitchers signing up to pitch in this ball game here tonight. And a bit of news for the Brewers today is Carlos Gomez signing an extension. I think this one kind of surprised us all, and it's going to be a 3-year extension to go along with a year that he has left, 4 total for Gomez.
Yeah, if last year's any indication, I mean, it looks as though Gomez has finally turned his game around, and when he is right, I mean, he can beat you in a lot of different ways. Everybody realizes how good he is defensively, his throwing arm, 19 home runs last year, all the stolen bases, and for the next 3 years, the Brewers are hoping that he's going to be able to put that together.
Well, you saw the 19 home runs for Carlos Gomez. He hit 14 of those in the final 2.5 months of the season, and Doug Melvin talking about the hardest positions to cover: center field, shortstop, catcher. The Brewers are well covered in all of those positions right now with Carlos Gomez signed up for 4. The Arizona Diamondbacks, the opponent tonight. We'll have more. We'll talk pitching when we continue. Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Menards. Save big money on all your home improvement needs at Menards. By Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Columbia St. Mary's, a passion for patient care. And by Mills Fleet Farm. We love it. Wow, what a beautiful night here in the Valley of the Sun. We're in Scottsdale, Arizona, Salt River Fields, and a great crowd expected here to see their hometown Diamondbacks and the Milwaukee Brewers here tonight. A lot of Brewers fans here as well. Well, Yovani Gallardo is on the mound tonight, and Rock, this will be his first start since a WBC performance, pitching for Team Mexico, where he pitched very well against the United States.
Yeah, 3 2/3 innings, did not allow a run. 27 years old. He's got more experience in the big leagues of any of the starters that are going to break camp, and he's done an awful lot in those 27 years. So, the excitement and the success that he had in the WBC comes as no surprise to really anybody. I mean, the last 2 years, Gallardo has really set himself as an ace on this rotation. It seems like every spring training there's one guy that everybody's talking about in the rotation. Well, this year it's Yovani Gallardo, 16 wins a year ago. He's won 30-plus games the last couple of years. Certainly a guy that has a lot of weight on those shoulders of that young rotation.
Well, a lot of the Brewers' big league pitchers are up tonight, including John Axford, as we count it down 19 days to opening day. Stay with us. The Cactus League, a night game here at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. The Brewers and the Diamondbacks. And the Brewers coming off a loss yesterday against the Texas Rangers, and many of the starters were not in that game in surprise, but many of them ready to go here tonight. And we're going to have a ton of interviews for you. We'll hear from Ron Renicky during our broadcast. We'll also try to catch up with Carlos Gomez when his day is done and talk about his newfound riches. Perhaps John Axford, and Doug Melvin's going to join us in the booth as well a little bit later. Giovanni Gallardo gets the start tonight in his first start back with the Brewers after pitching in the WBC. And we had a chance to hear from Gallardo about not only facing the USA in the WBC, but facing his teammate Ryan Braun.
Yeah, I've never faced him. You know, it was weird. It was definitely a little bit weird, a little different. You know, just kind of looked at the lineup and knew I was going to face him there in the first inning. So as soon as I got the first two guys out, he comes up to hit. You know, it's you know, just competitive. You know, I know what kind of hitter he is. He's a great hitter, and he's obviously seen me throw. You know, he's playing behind me defense-wise every start I'm out there, and you know, it was pretty fun.
So it's kind of unusual for Ryan Braun. You take a look at a lot of the Brewers, 13 of them in all, that have participated or continue to participate in the World Baseball Classic. The Brewers, with those 13, more than any other team in Major League Baseball. Ron Renicky feels as though that has created some issues for him throughout spring training, but it kind of gives you a sense of where this organization is. There's a lot of very good talent up and down this organization right now.
Well, it's good to get Gallardo back, and now he is on a pace to pitch opening day for the Brewers. There's Nori Aoki ready to lead off for Milwaukee, back in the starting lineup tonight after a day off yesterday. And a good crowd filing in here at Salt River Fields. This is the newest ballpark here in the Cactus League. Ron Renicky now in his third season as the Brewers skipper, a division title in 2011. Rallied the club to get into the pennant race last year. And here is Renicky's starting batting order tonight against the Diamondbacks. It's brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Nori Aoki leads off, Gene Segura, then Ricky Weeks. In the middle of the order, it's Carlos Gomez, Alex Gonzalez, and Taylor Green. Bottom three, Caleb Gindel, Blake Lally, and Giovanni Gallardo. And a string of left-handed hitters, as you see, down at the bottom of that batting order. And their 2012 batting averages from a year ago. And a newcomer to the Diamondbacks on the mound tonight, Randall Delgado, coming over in the Justin Upton trade. He came from the Braves to the Diamondbacks, and he's battling for that fifth spot in the D-backs rotation.
Yeah, he's a very hard thrower. 18 appearances, 17 of them starts, a 4-9 record, and kid's got a lot of promise. A very young right-hander out on the mound for the Diamondbacks tonight.
It's only 23 years of age. Made 17 starts with the Braves last year. The Menards Diamondbacks defense. Brad Snyder will start in left. Gerardo Parra in center. A.J. Pollock in right. The infield is Prado, Pennington, Aaron Hill, and Paul Goldschmidt. And Miguel Montero will do the catching tonight. Diamondbacks getting 3 players back from the Venezuelan WBC team. Montero, Prado, and Gerardo Parra. So Kirk Gibson glad to get some of his people back. 87 degrees here. Beautiful night. Clear skies up above. And we are set for baseball in the Cactus League. Great to have you with us on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Delgado facing Nori Aoki, and the game's first pitch is down low for ball 1, and away we go. Well, Aoki very happy for Carlos Gomez. Greeted him with a heavy handshake today, telling him congratulations, hoping a harbinger of things to come as Aoki slaps one back up the middle of base hit.
I figure those two are going to be in center and right field for a while anyway. Nori Aoki, you would expect to remain with the team after the final year of his 2-year deal. Has been swinging the bat pretty well. This is typical of Aoki, taking a pitch down the middle, pulling the hands in and shooting it right back into center field. He's been swinging the bat well down here.
Now the Brewers feel very good about their current outfield situation as Gene Segura steps in. And as of right now, Ron Renicky content to carry just 4 outfielders, with Logan Schaefer being that 4th outfielder. Segura takes a ball down and away. And Ron Renicky made it very clear earlier today, and we'll chat with him in the 3rd inning, but Gomez signs the long-term deal. Logan Schaefer is going to be a very busy man as a 4th outfielder. Renicky likes that flexibility.
And the fact that he's a left-handed hitter we've been talking about and hearing all spring about how right-handed this Brewers starting lineup is, and Logan Schaefer will fit wherever Ron Renicky asks him to go, anywhere in the outfield. He can run, he can throw, he plays a very good outfield and has been swinging the bat pretty well.
Gene Segura, he's had a nice spring so far. Segura this offseason went back home to the Dominican Republic, and he played in the Dominican Winter League for Francisco, and Gene Segura won the Dominican Winter League batting title this winter. So he kept his hitting ways going in the Caribbean this offseason.
That gave him a lot of confidence coming into spring training. He looks as though he belongs here. Got a good opportunity to get his feet wet last year and looks good here in spring training.
Really burst onto the scene a year ago in a matchup of very young players here. Segura, for the first time in his career, will have a starting position in the major leagues to begin a season. He was involved in the Zach Greinke trade a year ago, coming from the Angels to the Brewers. He played 1 game with the Angels, and then ultimately, after the trade, was promoted to the big leagues to play shortstop for the Brew Crew, as Delgado zips one in for a strike.
And the impressive thing about Segura so far this spring, his ability to hit to the opposite field. He's done a nice job of that and making good contact. You figure he's going to be in that number 8 spot in the batting order, at least early on. Presents a number of challenges for a young hitter, batting in front of the pitcher.
Segura to the right side, right on cue. Aoki makes the turn, headed to 3rd. Here comes the throw. It's late. Snap throw to 2nd, and Segura is out.
Well, there's that aggressive base running that Ron Renicky is urging his team to continue this spring. Aoki taking a big chance going to 3rd base. Nice swing by Segura, as we talked about, that inside-out stroke into right field. Look at Aoki. If that throws on line, he's going to be out, but they catch Segura at 2nd base. And just trying to be as aggressive as they can in spring training, and that time Segura got caught.
Aoki ends up at 3rd. That's part of the drill with Ron Renicky, and it's been that way the last 3 seasons during the Cactus League. He wants to push the envelope a little bit, maybe try some things you wouldn't normally try during the regular season. We'll see if Ricky Weeks can cash it in here with a runner at third and one out. Well, last year, Weeks, 21 home runs, 63 driven in. Finished with a .230 batting average, which is remarkable considering he was under 200 at the All-Star break.
Well, Ron Renneke stuck with him throughout the struggles that he had early in the year. And really because of that ankle injury, really never recovered from that until after the All-Star break.
A half swing. They'll ask if he went. Yes, he did.
And Delgado a good zip on that fastball. They say he gets too much of the plate with it a lot. He's got a curveball and a changeup to go with it.
Diamondbacks have terrific competition for their fifth spot in the rotation. Very good pitching team. And Delgado, a big part of the trade, and he was one of the guys that the Diamondbacks had their sights set on, a 7-player trade. Martin Prado and Randall Delgado, a couple of the significant players coming over from the Braves. There's a curveball that misses low. There's Martin Prado, just back from Team Venezuela in the WBC.
Yeah, good pickup for the Diamondbacks. Justin Upton to the Braves. The Upton brothers are going to play together this year.
Yeah, no more Chris Young, no more Justin Upton with the Diamondbacks. They've completely overhauled their outfield. Jason Kubel is still here. Weeks back to the box, and Aoki in a rundown. And nobody home. Aoki able to get back. Not sure why Montero didn't throw the baseball. It looked like Pennington was there, the shortstop, coming over to cover third base, but Montero thought he could run down Aoki, and everybody's safe.
Yeah, well, Montero held on to it a little bit too long, and then Pennington kind of gave up. He kept creeping closer and closer to Aoki and finally passed him, and then it was a foot race between Montero and Aoki, and Nori won that battle. Interesting. Well, it's spring training for the infielders. Make the mistakes now as opposed to April.
So does the phrase still apply? We work on that every day in spring training.
Yeah, going to work on it tomorrow, probably.
Yeah, you know, that's #1 on Kirk Gibson's list.
Kirk Gibson doesn't suffer those types of things well.
After the Diamondbacks execute a very nice cutoff and relay to get it out, gunning down Segura, they are unable to execute the rundown. So second and third for the Brewers, and the newly minted Carlos Gomez steps in for the Brewers.
He's got to feel good, huh? Go. Some kind of year he had last year, particularly the second half. Won him a 3-year extension.
Has a year left on his current deal, which is this season, and then the Brewers able to buy out 3 of his free agent seasons. And we touched on it a little bit in our open, but Doug Melvin was adamant about the difficulty it is going into the free agent market or via trade to get a up the middle defender. And in Carlos Gomez, now the Brewers have long-term contracts with their catcher, their shortstop, second baseman, and center fielder.
There you go. Up the middle is pretty much covered, isn't it? Well, he can beat you in a lot of ways. He can help you win in a lot of ways when things are going well for him. With his legs, his arm, certainly his defense, covering center field, and he's got very good home run power and having a very good spring.
Yeah, he has been red hot this spring. 9 for 17. That includes a home run. Second and third with 1 away in the first, and Gomez takes a strike. Think about his year last year, and it was his best home run season. He was essentially a platoon player to start the year, but once he got into the lineup every day and the Brewers were able to crawl back into the race, he really started to show the big power. Gomez hit 14 home runs in his last 67 games last season.
Getting on base, the one thing he's done a very good job of so far in spring training is taking walks and being patient at the plate. Put himself into hitters counts. That's why you saw the numbers that he's been able to post. A batting average over 500.
Weeks and Aoki on the bags. The infield is in, and Gomez takes a big rip, and down he goes. So the first strikeout for Delgado. It's out number 2.
He does take a big hack. Really never does shorten up that swing. He'll do it from time to time, but he'd like to have that fastball back down and in. And Delgado gets a big strikeout.
Delgado is a power sinker ball pitcher, a ground ball pitcher, and that's why folks in Arizona feel like he's going to pitch well in their ballpark, which is a home run friendly ballpark when it heats up here in the Arizona sun. So 2 gone, and it's Alex Gonzalez now, 2nd and 3rd for the Brewers, and Delgado pours a big fastball in there.
And gets it up there in the mid-90s. As we talked about, a little bit of sink once in a while. He'll cut it from time to time, and he's got to get more consistent on the corners.
Alex Gonzalez getting the start today at 3rd base. Been playing a lot of first base for the Brewers after a terrific career as a starting shortstop and a Gold Glove caliber shortstop. Gonzalez blew out the ACL in his right knee last year in early May, and that was the end of his season. Too bad, because he was off to a great start.
And he's come back. He looks like he's 100% right now.
That is a foul tip into the mid of Montero, and a strikeout for Delgado. So back-to-back Ks with runners at 2nd and 3rd, and the Brewers come up empty, and now it's Gallardo's turn. In the second round of the WBC, but Brewers fans are glad he's back. The ace is on the mound tonight, facing Kirk Gibson's Arizona Diamondbacks. Gibson in his 4th season as the skipper of the Diamondbacks, took over midway through the year, and then of course that great run in 2011. These two teams matched up in the LDS in the National League. Here's his lineup tonight, brought to you by Piggly Wiggly. Parra, Prado, and Hill at the top. Goldschmidt, Montero, and A.J. Pollock in the middle of the order, with Brad Schneider, Cliff Pennington, and Randall Delgado rounding it out. Pitchers hitting for themselves this time of year as we start zeroing in on opening day. And the numbers for Gallardo in his last Cactus League outing. Not his best outing of the year, but he bounced that back with a terrific start for Team Mexico against the United States. Went 3 2/3 innings, 49 pitches in that game, and did not allow a run. A little bouncer, foul, just foul off the bat of Gerardo Parra. Let's set the defense for the Brew Crew tonight. Behind Gallardo, it's brought to you by Menards. Caleb Gindel, Carlos Gomez, and Nori Aoki in the outfield. Gindel continues to get the starts for Ryan Braun. You got Gonzalez, Segura, Weeks, and Taylor Green around the horn, with Blake Lally, the former Cub, doing the catching tonight. So we're still without both of their big league catchers, Jonathan Lucroy and Martin Maldonado.
Yeah, and that certainly is a disadvantage for the Brewers in that they really don't have their catchers to, work with their starters throughout spring training. It could be as long as a couple of weeks. But again, I mean, both of those guys have worked with every one of the starters that look like they're going to be in the starting rotation. Now, the Brewers breathed a sigh of relief right before the WBC. Gallardo had a slight leg injury that cost him a start, a groin, and everything checked out well. He was able to pitch in the World Baseball Classic, and here he is tonight.
That was so cool to see Gallardo on that stage. He is Mexican born. He was raised in Texas, but wearing number 49, the same number that Teddy Higuera wore as a Brewer, and that's the reason why Gallardo wears that number. And Teddy Higuera was part of the coaching staff for Team Mexico, and to finally see those two together in the same uniform, that had to be a special moment for him. And of course, there was that big brawl between Canada and Mexico, and a number of Brewers players were involved in that. 6 of them, as a matter of fact. Gallardo and Estrada on the Mexican side, and then you had John Axford and Jim Henderson, Taylor Green, and Rene Tassoni for Team Canada. And all of those players made sure they put their faces in somebody's back.
That's right.
No sucker punches.
Yeah, well, all was good.
Everybody checked out okay.
No harm, no foul.
Pretty scary scene, however.
Kind of gives you a sense of the intensity that that WBC kind of creates. I mean, amongst the countries, and good to see everybody back and healthy.
Full count to the Diamondbacks leadoff hitter, Gerardo Parra. That one is hammered deep right center field, and Gerardo Parra puts the Diamondbacks on the board with a big fly.
Yeah, no doubt about that one. That one deep into the night. The Diamondbacks team in the past have been able to put up some home run numbers, and Parra got to the odd man out last year. There's that high fastball, and Parra able to get on top of it and knock it out of here in right center. I got a nice short stroke, not much of a leg kick. Kind of picks up that front heel and lets her fly.
Well, one of the great defensive outfielders in the big leagues. Parra trying to lock up a 4th outfielder role with this team. He's an excellent defensive sub, but he packs a little punch as well. And he puts the D-backs up as Gallardo starts Martin Prado with strike 1. You have to think about the intensity level and the intensity drop that all of these players who are playing in the WBC will experience now, getting back into the rhythm of spring training. And adrenaline is an amazing thing, right, and that's not something that they're going to have a whole lot of compared to what they were just doing. That includes Martin Prado, who was playing for Team Venezuela. With a bouncer out to Ricky Weeks, and there is the first out. And just in case you're wondering how serious these players took the WBC, Miguel Montero was quoted as saying that that game that they played against Puerto Rico, Venezuela was eliminated. He said it hurt worse that they were eliminated. It hurt about as much, I should say, as it did when the Diamondbacks were eliminated by the Brewers in the NLDS of 2011.
It means a lot. It means a lot to a lot of countries.
I mean, that's saying a lot. Bouncing ball over to third base. And there is out number 2 as Aaron Hill is retired.
Hey, the countdown to Brewers opening day is on, and you can go for free with a Brewers 10-pack. So what are you waiting for? Call 414-902-HITS or visit brewers.com/10packs today.
You are rounding into regular season form.
I like the promos.
The "what are you waiting for" line was a bit of a throwaway line until today. I can see you dialing it up a notch.
Starting to put a little intensity in there.
Nice.
A little inflection in the voice.
That's beautiful. Paul Goldschmidt the big Diamondback slugger. About his year last year, 20 homers, 82 runs batted in. Great opposite field power. Great power to all fields, but especially to right center. It looks like he is going to be a terrific player for a long, long time. He's having a great spring. Still looking for his first Cactus League home run, but hitting for a high average. This is a hitter's league. A little bit different than the Grapefruit League in Florida. That's a good place to pitch. This is a good place to swing the bat.
Yes, you have to take your numbers if you're a pitcher with a little bit of grain of salt. And just the same as if you're a hitter.
Strike call. Gallardo dots the corner. Goldschmidt fires his bat and his helmet. And down he goes. And the Diamondbacks have the lead on a Gerardo Parra home run. Crowd on hand here at Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. The Diamondbacks lead on a Gerardo Parra home run. And Rock, great to have a big group. The Brewers road crew here today. Sarah Williams bringing a big group from Milwaukee.
Yeah. What do you have, about 50?
Yeah, nice.
Had a good time with him. Had a burger with him out there today.
Yes, we did. Maybe more than one. And part of that crew was Jerry Augustine. There you see Gumby up there enjoying himself. And We've commandeered Jerry Augustine because we'll put him to work here. Before we ask you any questions, Augie, how many pitchers do you currently see?
How many pitchers?
Just one?
Just one.
Okay, good. You're good to go then. We can ask you some legitimate questions. Because I know you've had a good time up there.
It is a beautiful place. I'll tell you what, you talk about beautiful ballparks. First of all, the weather's great, but this is a gorgeous ballpark.
Jerry Augustine, former Brewer pitcher. And we'll get into some pitching stuff here with Yovani Gallardo. First of all, Augie, what did you see in the first inning? And maybe you can talk to us a little bit about adrenaline and how to deal with that when maybe you don't have as much compared to what he's been doing lately.
Well, I'll tell you what, you know, pitching in the Classic like he just got off and you watched him pitch there, he did such a great job for Mexico against the USA ball club, and you could really tell that Yo had the adrenaline going. He's threw the ball very well. So, you know, now you're getting back in your routine, getting ready for the season. So what you want to do is you want to come out here and work on your things. You want to correct all the things. You want to make sure that you got the good location and all your pitches. You feel comfortable. And so when you come off of a high like that, you know, is there going to be a letdown? You hope there is not, but you're still going to go out and work on the things you have to work on to get ready for the season.
Hey, you know, Augie, the Brewers right now have 4 pitchers that are trying to win 3 spots in that rotation. And, you know, everybody's friends down there, but you want to win a spot. I mean, I'm sure you've been through those things in spring training, trying to win a job. How tough is it to remain friends knowing that you're in competition with these guys?
Well, I think the friendship is really important. I think it's one thing that keeps you calm as a person, and one thing you want to do as a pitcher is you want to go out there and you want to be calm and you want to be able to go out and do your job, and when it's time for you to pitch, be able to get out there and focus. And I think the friendships are really important, but when it's time to get out on the field, you got to really focus on what you have to do, and you have to go out and do it well. And it's tough to do at times because there's so much at stake, because you're fulfilling a dream you want to do, but at the same time, you have to go out and do the job, and you have to concentrate and do the things you have to do to win.
You know, this is perhaps the longest spring training ever. I know for the Brewers, I mean, these guys got down here mid-February. Game started on the 23rd. How tough is it to stay focused for 6 weeks of games? It's a long time.
It is difficult. You know, the thing is, you go through things, and Rock, you've been through this. You guys have been through it. So you know you're going to go through body-wise, physically. You're going to have some up and down times. The guys always talk about pitchers. They go through a time in spring training where you get what they call a little bit of a tired arm. You're not throwing the ball as well as you can. But it's a mind game, too, and being able to go out there on a consistent basis and to go out and do what you have to do. So you really have to sit back and have a game plan, and it's the hardest thing to do when you're down here for that long period of time, is to keep that game plan and focusing on what you have to do, and then go out and be consistent.
Yeah, especially this time of year. I mean, these guys have 2 weeks. A lot of these guys feel like they're ready to go right now.
Oh, I'd agree. I think some are focused as far as when you talk about mentally being ready, what they want to do. I would think that there's a lot of guys that are, but you know, it's that edge. It's the edge of trying to make this ball club. And like you said, Rock, there's 3 or 4 guys here that are working for a possibility of getting a starting rotation on a major league ball club. So when you go out there, you really have to sit back and, you know, try to take the edge off of it and really concentrate on keeping focused, doing what you do best, and locate your pitches.
Visiting with Jerry Augustine. He'll be back on the air with us this year. Brewers Live pre and post games, and always entertaining in the instructionals as well after the games. And Augie is with the big group from the Brewers road crew.
Augie, were you responsible for making sure Gantner made the flight today?
Yes, I was, and believe me, I had to call him to make sure he got to the airport. That's just Jimmy. But, you know, one thing was really nice about it, unlike fantasy camp, he knew what airlines we were flying on this time.
He didn't know what airline he was on coming into fantasy camp?
That's right. He didn't know the airlines that when we were coming to fantasy camp. This time he knew what airlines we were on. So that's a big step forward for Jimmy.
Yeah, it's good that we had you in charge of him then.
Well, meanwhile, Delgado with 4 consecutive strikeouts. There's Jim Gantner, the great second baseman of the Brewers. As tough as it gets, huh?
Oh, he's a special guy. You know, when you talk about baseball, he is in it 100%. He watches it, and he'll tell you exactly what he thinks. And he's a pretty focused guy when it comes to the game of baseball.
2 gone here. Blake Lally at the plate for the Brewers. As we visit with Jerry Augustine. Always great to hear from Jerry, one of the great teachers.
Yeah,
of the art of pitching
and baseball in general.
I know, Jerry, you've been very busy this offseason giving lessons periodically. You're running an insurance group. You're on TV. You're just a man of many talents.
Well, you know, you got to enjoy things. I always I think baseball is always a passion for me and a love for me. So when it comes to giving lessons and helping young people out to try to better themselves, you always want to give people that opportunity. But, you know, it's just a joy for the game. When you enjoy the game and you watch it and you get to do what I'm able to do, is go and talk about the game of baseball to all the Brewer fans. It's a lot of fun, but also teaching young kids to be better. I always say that's pretty special when you can help someone.
2 balls and a strike on Lally, and he lines one foul. Well, Rock, you and Augie and Dave Nelson, you guys have been shooting some instructionals here at spring training. A little bit different look for us this year for our post-game instructionals this season, huh?
Yeah, we're going to be doing some live instructionals down in the field after the games at Miller Park. We're also going to have some taped with players and coaches. And I don't know if Augie knows this yet, but, you know, when we get back to Milwaukee, he's going to be responsible for setting up some taping of some instructionals. So,
nice.
So, Augie, when you get back to Milwaukee, make sure you give Davey Nelson the memo.
I will send them one.
You're now the tape instructional coordinator, Augie.
Those are a lot of fun. You know, when you do those things, they're so much fun. And do them with Rock and Davey, and, you know, there's so much baseball knowledge there. So we have fun with it, but yet we make it a teaching tool, and the fans like it, and that's what it's all about.
Blake Lally sends that one high and deep to center field, but it will stay in the ballpark as Parra makes the catch. Great visiting with you, Augie. Go back to the road crew. Have a great time tonight.
It's great being with you guys.
That's Jerry Augustine. 1-0 D-backs. They're coming up. silhouette of Camelback Mountain and the city of Phoenix off on the horizon. We are in Scottsdale. And great to have you with us tonight. Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. Now the Diamondbacks have a 1-0 lead. By the way, you can text our Fox Sports Wisconsin girls this year. Text number is 234-234. Or you can enter online at foxsportswisconsin.com. So they're giving away admission for 4. You can join Bashar, China, and Sage when the Bucks battle the Lakers on March 28th. So you can enter now for a chance to win. Go to foxsportswisconsin.com or just send a text. That's the way Rock does it. 234-234. Diamondbacks coming up in the home second. And Miguel Montero back for his first game after returning from the WBC. One of the great offensive catchers in the game of baseball.
And he's turned into a pretty good defensive player as well. Signed a long-term contract last year. Montero's solid defensively. He can hit. You're right.
Yeah, we were there. Remember, the Brewers were in Arizona when that contract was announced. Montero was on the disabled list at the time. He's a great talent from Caracas, Venezuela. Just 29 years of age. And you might remember when Montero was coming through the Diamondback system, they had 2 very talented catchers, Chris Snyder and Miguel Montero. There was a lot of questions on who was going to emerge as the starter. Montero ended up securing that job. Snyder has moved on to a couple of teams since then. He first went to the Pirates, ended up with the Astros last year.
Yeah, Snyder made it easy on Montero. He had nothing but injuries throughout the time he was with the Diamondbacks and wasn't able to stay on the field enough. The Diamondbacks very pleased to have Montero behind home plate.
Was an all-star for the first time last season. A good catcher, good defensive catcher who can hit. And he is proven to be a run producer as well as Gallardo goes up the ladder to strike him out. Seeing a bunch of strikeouts already. That's 6 total between Delgado and Gallardo.
Yep, trying to catch the outside corner. Got it on the corner, but up, and Montero swings right through it. And he's trying to find that good command. After giving up the home run, he's retired 4 in a row.
And that's going to bring up A.J. Pollock.
There's a cut fastball that Yo has worked on a lot. That was a good one right there on the outside corner. Well, curveball, slider, cutter, fastball for Yo. He'll throw an occasional changeup. We haven't really seen Gallardo throw too many changeups this spring. A pitch that he really has not been able to feel comfortable with. Not like it was when he came up.
Gallardo surrendering a leadoff home run to Parra. Retired the next 3 with a strikeout, and he pumps a strike in there to get ahead of the young A.J. Pollock. If you're wondering why the Diamondbacks were so willing to not only trade Chris Young away, but which was during the season last season, but then trade Justin Upton, one of the premier outfielders in the league, is because of their young outfield group, including Pollock, as he goes down on strikes, and Gallardo has 3 in a row.
Yep, there's that power curveball that Yo likes to throw with 2 strikes. Good block by Blake Lally, who really has done a nice job behind home plate, taking advantage of playing time with Lucroy and Maldonado at the WBC, and he's opened up some eyes. A left-handed hitter, but a good curveball with 2 strikes for Gallardo.
Lucroy still with Team USA. Maldonado with Puerto Rico. He played first base last night, Maldonado. And they're in the losers bracket now, Puerto Rico. I know Renicky is going to be glad to get all of his pieces back together. Brad Snyder for the D-backs. Rolls over 1 right to Ricky Weeks. Nice easy hop and a nice easy inning for Gallardo that included a pair of strikeouts. 2 innings for Yo. He's given up a run on a homer, but now 3 strikeouts. Is Arizona. This is about 4 hours north and Lake Powell. And just beautiful images. Time-lapse camera shot out of the private stash of Mitch Riggin, our director tonight, and giving us some of the great views of Arizona, some of the great vistas. Well, Sunday at 1:30, don't miss Fox Sports as they salute the troops. Former MLB greats, including Raleigh Fingers, along with Fox Sports girls from around the country, including our own Fox Sports Wisconsin girl, Bashara. They traveled to Germany to bring some spring training fun to military families. That's 1:30 on Sunday on Fox Sports Wisconsin. Great cause. Looking forward to that program.
Yeah. On there supporting the troops overseas and put a big smile on their face. They certainly deserve it. There's a lot of lakes in Arizona, not too many in here in Phoenix, but you'd be surprised. They sell a lot of boats here in the valley.
You wouldn't think so.
They do.
There's a few swimming pools here. As Gallardo leads off for the Brew Crew. Now the Brewers had a chance in the first inning with runners in second and third and 1 out, but Delgado with back-to-back strikeouts to end the inning. And then strung together 4 consecutive Ks before Blake Lally flew out to center field. Gallardo, a very good hitting pitcher at the plate, getting his first chance to swing the bat this spring.
Real kind of a down year swinging the bat a year ago.
And he was not happy about that either.
No, he wasn't working on it.
He considers himself a threat.
I don't think the Brewers are too much worried about his offense. Win 16 games again, I think he'll be happy with his year.
2-2 on Gallardo, and he slashes one foul. And that's about the right kind of swing for a guy who's up there for the first time. He's a little bit late. Delgado's bringing it.
Got to be tough to catch.
Slow roller over to third base. This is Prado, and plenty of time to get Gallardo.
That's a nice play over to third base.
Randall Delgado coming over in the trade from the Braves, trying to make this Diamondbacks starting rotation. He's in a battle for that number 5 spot and showing very well here tonight. He's in great competition with a guy by the name of Tyler Skaggs and Patrick Corbin. Patrick Corbin pitched yesterday. Corbin's been the best of the group so far, but Delgado hoping for that late surge. Nothing wrong with his arm.
No, got himself in trouble in the first inning, second and third, 1 out, and he struck out the side. So he does look good. Good life on the fastball. The curveball looks like a pretty good put-away pitch. And only 23 years old.
Back to the top of the order for the Brewers. Nori Aoki reached on a base hit in the first inning. Brewers had back-to-back hits to start this game against Delgado. Singles from Aoki and Segura, but unable to cash in the top of the first. Diamondbacks have terrific starting pitching. Ian Kennedy at the top of the list. Got Brandon McCarthy coming over from the Oakland A's. Trevor Cahill. I noticed, though, we saw Wade Miley pitch against the Brewers last week. He had to be scratched from a start here recently. Aoki skies one to the shortstop, Pennington, for the second out. Gene Segura coming up and hoping to continue on a very impressive rookie campaign.
Got a nice opposite field stroke. We've already seen it tonight. A base hit to right, covers a lot of ground, has a very quick release. Very athletic out there at shortstop. Really a second baseman by trade, moved to short. But based on what he did last year, you would never know that he was new to shortstop. Did a nice job.
Swinging away at the first pitch. There's Martin Prado, and that is a quick 1-2-3 inning for Delgado and the D-backs. Brewers baseball on Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Piggly Wiggly, the official supermarket of Fox Sports Wisconsin. By Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin. Ho Chunk Gaming Wisconsin, your ticket to more. And by Marshfield Clinic. Don't just live, shine. Night game in the desert tonight under the lights of Salt River Fields at Talking Stick, spring training home of the Arizona Diamondbacks. D-backs lead the Brewers 1-0 as we head to the bottom of the third. Yovani Gallardo back on the mound, and joining us down near the Brewers dugout is Milwaukee Brewers skipper Ron Renicky. Great to have you with us. Thanks for joining us tonight, Ron. And how about some opening thoughts on what you've seen so far from Yovani Gallardo in his couple of innings?
Well, other than the first batter, pretty good. So he's locating his fastball down on the zone. He's throwing some nice curveballs, and that cutter's been real good.
Yeah, big news, Ron, today with Carlos Gomez, a 3-year extension. Talk a little bit about that for us tonight.
Oh no, I got Gomez for 3 more. He's a guy that really the guys love. We love as a coaching staff. He's got a lot of energy. We all know what he does on the field, but he's important to us, I think, in just what we do and how we want to play. And he's a pretty exciting guy.
You know, Ron, I always wonder why you don't have more night games as the season approaches, because the majority of your games are at night. The quality of the lights, does that have something to do with why you don't play more night games here?
I don't know if that's the reason why. I think you get in a routine where it's nice to stay in it, so the day games work out real well. If we had a game, for instance, tomorrow we have an off day, but if we had a game, tomorrow's schedule would be messed up. So I like when you talk about later on in spring training, I really like it later because we're getting close to the season where obviously most our games are night. But right now, it's really not that convenient to do.
Well, Ron, you look across the Arizona Diamondbacks, Kirk Gibson. Does it bring back memories of that fantastic 2011 NLDS?
Well, you know, I think with all the people in the stands here, it's nice to see a full house, and yeah, I think that series was a great series. The home teams certainly prevailed in those, and Game 5 for us is definitely one of the most exciting games I've been involved with.
I'm interested to know how come you and your coaches sit outside the dugout. Kirk Gibson's over there. They're in the dugout like a regular season game. What's the advantage to sitting outside the dugout?
The view from out here is way better. It's not even close. So that's why we do it. Gibby has his own ways of doing things, and for some reason he wants to be in there. You're protected a lot more in there. Maybe that's it. So, but our view from out here, I was just talking to Jerry. We go to some of these parks, and it's hard to see what's happening out there. So when we're sitting here, we see the pitcher so much better. We're still able to just get up and go and talk to the players if we need to.
And Ron, real quick, I know we got 2 outs here, but Ramis Ramirez coming along nicely. He's taking batting practice, and when do you expect him back on the field?
Well, he tells me he's playing Friday, so that's what I'm going to go by. He feels good. The last step, really, he slid today. We have a pad that we bring out, and he did some sliding, and that went real well, so he's ready to go.
That was quite a scare. Left knee injury for Aramis Ramirez as the newly minted Gomez runs that one down for the out. Ron, thanks for your time. Continued success this spring.
Thanks, guys, and we'll be seeing you.
That's Ron Renicky, the Brewers skipper. Way to the top of the 4th here in Scottsdale, Arizona. The Diamondbacks lead it on a Parra home run. They're leading Gallardo and the Brewers. And Rock, how about we get into our carsoup.com email the booth question. And tonight's question comes from TJ in Menominee Falls. And he wants to stay on the pitching theme, wondering how many pitchers should be on an opening day roster in your opinion?
Should be, or
not old school Rock.
Like 10?
Modern day Rock.
Yeah, back in the old days when me and Augie were on teams, it was a 10-man pitching staff, 5 starters, 5 relievers. Now it hadn't been that way for what, 10 years, 15 years, maybe longer.
Been longer, Rock.
Okay, but Brewers are expecting 12 pitchers on their opening day roster. That would include 7 relievers. And we talked about, the 5 starters. There's 4 guys trying to get 3 spots in the rotation, and you figure the one guy that doesn't make the rotation is going to be in the bullpen. At least that's the way it's looking.
Well, we're going to have Doug Melvin here in the booth in the 7th inning tonight, and he's going to go through a lot of the scenarios. Ron Renicky has said, he told us on Monday, that he would ideally like to carry 7 relievers. As Weeks chops one to third, that'll be a base hit. A swinging bunt for Ricky Weeks, and an infield hit to get the Brewers a base runner to start the 4th.
That could very well be 8 relievers out of the bullpen. It depends on how things are going through spring training and the situation with pitch counts for the starting pitching. And right off the knuckles, Ricky able to roll one right down the line, a swinging bunt, no chance. Down at third base for Prado. I came up with it.
You're digging deep.
Digging deep. Prado, there he is. Martin Prado at third.
Here's Carlos Gomez. Gomez struck out his first time up. That started a string of 4 consecutive Ks for Delgado. The decision whether to carry 7 relievers or 8 relievers really comes down to the youth of the starting rotation. And if you're trying to limit these pitchers, and remember, these young pitchers the Brewers are going to count on heavily have not been in a full major league season for the most part. As Gomez goes to third, Prado has to hustle and just does get Carlos Gomez. So Weeks advances to second on the ground out by Gomez.
And when you consider right now the way it looks, it's going to be Marco Estrada, the oldest starter for the Brewers at 29 years old. And any bobble by Prado down at third base, Gomez would have been safe.
Now the basic philosophy, and we'll talk to Doug Melvin about this later, but the Brewers feel like their young pitchers showed enough last year, helped get the Brewers back into the pennant race last season, that they deserve the chance to get the job, to try to become major league starting pitchers. As Gonzalez skies one just in foul territory for out number 2. So that's the plan, but if you're trying to limit them with innings, if you're concerned about an innings limit, then obviously you're not going to ask these guys to go 7 and 8 innings every night, which is going to put a lot more pressure on the bullpen, and which is why the Brewers are debating whether to carry an 8th reliever. And that's getting pretty deep into the roster, but that's really the only major decision the Brewers have right now, that and first base. So offensively, the Brewers are in pretty good shape with their roster.
The way baseball is, I mean, how many pitchers go 7, 8 innings anymore, right? I mean, whether they're young or they're 10-year veterans, I mean, 8 innings is a lot these days.
Taylor Green, back from Team Canada in the WBC. He actually played a game here in this ballpark against Italy. And Green takes a ball down and in. Yeah, you can still see some of the remnants, some of the paint. Not quite mowed off just yet. What a venue here.
Beautiful.
This is some kind of ballpark. And Green cut it a miss. Well, Taylor Green knows he'll have a shot at a big league roster. Last year he got in 58 games, hit for a 184 average. Most of that was off the bench, and a role that didn't suit him so well. A young player coming up.
A couple of pitch hit home runs for Taylor Green last year.
Well, he'll have a chance at first base to start the season. The Brewers are still without Corey Hart. He's going to be probably until late April or early May before he returns after knee surgery. Hart is now walking without crutches, and saw him in the clubhouse 2 days ago. He said things are coming along well, and he's healing a lot faster than the doctors expected, which is a good sign.
Corey just doesn't like spring training, that's all.
Be 3 years in a row without a spring training.
Doesn't need much. He's talking about what, second, end of May, end of April, early May. I don't know if the Brewers are so much thinking that, but that's what Corey says.
Well, the original diagnosis would be was 4 months after surgery, which puts him in the mid to late May. He's trying to step it up. There's the off-speed pitch, and Green is going on strikes. And Delgado is racking up a bunch of Ks. That's 5 already.
Backs here in the bottom of the 4th inning. A leadoff home run by Gerardo Parra, the only scorer of the ball game. Hey, Sunday, April 7th, the Brewers take on these Diamondbacks at 1:10 p.m. All fans in attendance get a Norichka Aoki bobblehead, courtesy of Robert Hack Diamonds. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
One to nothing D-backs as we head to the Arizona half of the 4th inning. Gallardo back out there for his 4th inning of work. He has been extremely efficient. Just 34 pitches so far for Gallardo through the first 3 innings. And outside of the leadoff home run by Gerardo Parra, Gallardo has now retired 9 in a row and has 4 strikeouts in that stretch as he deals Martin Prado strike 1. Former All-Star utility player Martin Prado, now a Diamondback. I'm sure he was torn when invited to play in the WBC for Venezuela, coming over to a new team. You know, do you leave that team to play for your country? Turns out he had a couple of teammates on that club in Gerardo Parra and Miguel Montero. This guy's a great talent, though. He can do a lot of things. He is a manager's dream.
Yeah, you can play him anywhere. You throw him in the outfield, the infield, anywhere, and give you a good solid at bat.
Little bouncer past Gallardo. Segura has to hurry, and a nice play to get the out.
Man, that's not an easy play, and Segura made it look easy. I mean, he was full sprint after that baseball, and not only do you keep it in the glove, watch the way he struggles a little bit to keep that ball in the glove, and then how quick that release is to first base. That's a nice play.
They talk about Segura. You hear a lot of the Brewer coaches. Garth Orridge is the infield coach. He talks about his body control. You know, he's not your prototypical shortstop build. Segura's only 5'11", goes about 175, 180 pounds. He's not that tall, rangy shortstop. But he is quick as a cat, has great range, and a very strong throwing arm.
And very accurate from what we've seen. He doesn't rush his throws. He doesn't panic. Always seems to be underneath himself. He's never really off balance. And that's something he really can't teach.
Aaron Hill takes a strike. Gallardo ahead 1-2. Well, every scout I've talked to this spring, when asked about Segura, they say he looks like a star. a star in the making, and the Brewers are excited to see what he can do. I think the original book on him was that he was a natural second baseman, a defensive whiz at second base. The Angels converted him to the shortstop position 2 years ago, and the Brewers were, wondering if in fact he was going to be a shortstop. Ron Renicky certainly has a lot of friends in that Angels organization and did his homework on him, and he has sold the manager that he can play shortstop every day. Those are some critical eyes as well, as Gallardo punches out Aaron Hill.
He wasn't looking for that one. Wasn't looking for the fastball right down the middle. Maybe looking for a wrinkle. Check this pitch out. Actually not down the middle. Had a little bit of a tail to it and caught the outside corner. Good fastball by Hill. He looks good.
All right, so 2 gone now, and here is Paul Goldschmidt. 5 strikeouts for Gallardo, 3 of them called. Goldschmidt was a strikeout victim back in the first inning. Sounded like it was off the end of the bat, right to Aoki, and a 1-2-3 inning for Yovani Gallardo. He's cruising along here after a leadoff home run. Pitcher for the Diamondbacks as we head to the 5th inning. Delgado goes 4 impressive innings, 4 shutout innings, and now the D-backs closer, J.J. Putz, a slimmed down version. J.J. Putz dropping 20 pounds this offseason. See his numbers from a year ago, picking up 32 saves, had 5 blown saves, and Rocky's gone gluten-free to drop all that weight. Says he feels better than he ever has in his life.
Is that right? Gluten-free, huh? The gluten-free diet. Well, without the gluten or with the gluten, he had a pretty good season last year. 32 saves. So we'll see how the new diet fits him. Pretty good numbers for Putz, J.J. Putz. How about Delgado? I mean, Delgado very impressive here tonight, trying to win a spot in that starting rotation. 23 years old. He got himself in trouble in the first inning. Second and third, 1 out. Struck out back-to-back hitters. Showed a good fastball, that put-away curveball, and certainly didn't hurt his chances here tonight.
Well, Delgado, 57 pitches tonight with those 5 strikeouts. And now Kirk Gibson and Alan Trammell will turn it over to their closer here. A little bit unusual twist, something you see a lot of in spring training, as J.J. Putz deals a strike.
And I think the idea why you have your closer come in this early in the game, you want them to face big league hitters before they make all the changes.
Caleb Gendel, Blake Lally, and Gallardo, first 3 up, if Gallardo in fact gets another inning out of it.
And sometimes you just don't want your closer sitting around for sometimes 3.5 hours before they get in. Not in spring training. It's all about getting their inning in.
And Putz makes quick work of Caleb Gendel. He's always had the big fastball. Charles Nagy, the Diamondbacks pitching coach, charting a strikeout for his big right-hander.
Okay, that pitch was supposed to be up. See Montero setting up in his zone, and Putz caught the inside corner.
Brewers are expected to do the same here with their closer. John Axford is getting ready to follow up Giovanni Gallardo. Lally on the first pitch. Rolls out to Hill. 2 up and 2 down for J.J. Putz. There's the Axeman back from Team Canada. It'll be his first outing since returning from the WBC. So Axford will be next, and Giovanni Gallardo is going to get an at-bat. There's probably a whole roster of minor league hitters down there dying to get an at-bat, but Gallardo says, sit down, boys. I got to get my looks.
I need the practice. Not often your pitcher faces the closer.
There's no doubt Gallardo loves to hit a lot more than he loves to pitch. And that's the case with most starting pitchers. Most of them aren't any good at it.
There's a good breaking pitch. Yeah, Yote wants to atone for I guess, subpar season at the plate last year. Is that a fair way to say it?
Yeah, you know, he won the Silver Slugger a few years back.
I guess he sets the bar so high for himself.
Well, Gallardo had some comments.
It helps myself out, you know. It helps yourself out. You know, you gotta think of all the guys we have here. You know, so we take it seriously. You know, whether it be a bunt, hit and run, or you know, who knows? I mean, you might have to swing away, hit a fly ball in the outfield to get that runner from third. So it's just like I said. I mean, the more I try to work on it, the better, because it's only going to help myself out and it's going to help the team out.
Well, Gallardo strikes out, and the inning is over as J.J. Putz. 8 pitches, 8 strikes, 1-2-3 inning. Closer here after Gallardo goes 4 innings, just 1 run. Now John Axford on the mound for the Brewers.
Yeah, fresh off the Team Canada experience in the World Baseball Classic, and Axford appeared in 75 games last year, ended up with 35 saves, had a tremendous month of September to get those numbers the way he would have liked them. Big earned run average, but most of that came in the beginning of the season. So Axford on here in the 5th.
And take it over for Giovanni Gallardo, and Giovanni joins us from the Brewers first base dugout. Thanks for giving us some time here, Giovanni. I know we talked to you on Monday, but I'm anxious to know how you felt about your return to the Brew Crew today.
I felt good. You know, it's always nice to be back. I mean, I was hoping it would be a little bit later, but you know, it's like I said, it's always nice to be back around the guys. You know, just spend a whole year with these guys, so it's kind of, you know, it's one of those things to show up. I'm pretty excited to be back.
You know, we were speculating during the broadcast watching you pitch. I would imagine that adrenaline was a factor, and maybe the lack thereof. I mean, talk about your outing at Chase Field against the United States and what you felt when you were pitching then and then tonight, and how you kind of managed that.
It was unbelievable. You know, I think Friday night there at Chase, it was reminded me of the postseason once again. You know, when we played Arizona there in 2011. I mean, it was nuts. There's a lot of excitement going on. You know, the fans were into the game from pitch one to the last out in the ninth inning, which, you know, you always have that extra adrenaline and excitement, even as a player.
Yeah, it looked like you really felt good out there at the plate. You gave up the one run, the first batter, then you know, got everybody else. How did you feel on the mound? Did you feel like you had your good command today?
Yeah, I felt good. You know, I think I made pitches whenever I need to. I think that first inning and that first hitter to Parra, you know, it just went 3-2. And last thing I want to do is start the game off with the walk. And, you know, I tried to go down and away, but I left it up over the plate, and he took advantage of it. He put a good swing on it.
Yep. How much of a scare was it for you, the little groin issue that you had before the World Baseball Classic? Any dealings with that right now?
No, not at all. I think, you know, the training staff, you know, Dan, Dave, and Kevin, you know, they all did a great job. You know, just in there every day making sure I would get back to 100%, and, you know, I was able to get back to it right before the WBC.
Was it your idea, or was it Ron Renicke's to have you go up there against J.J. Putz tonight?
It was actually my idea. He asked me if I wanted to go up there and hit. I was like, sure. I mean, I'm not going to turn down an AB.
Right.
But even though I'm pretty sure it wasn't much of an AB,
he threw you a nasty splitter, didn't he?
Yeah. I think that the first one I fouled off, started right down the middle, ended up and in. You know, it's one of those things that it's got good stuff. You know, I was 0-2 right away. I was like, well, I'll get back in the dugout, and we got the guys laughing at me. So.
Well, you needed that at bat anyway, get you going.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, I just want to finalize the brawl. Obviously, is a big story, but you know, you've got teammates on that other side with Canada. I'm just interested to know what the discussion's been. Is it all kind of laughing it off at this point, or is it still kind of a no discussed topic right now? What's your take on it at this point?
No, I mean, we talk about it. You know, at this point, obviously, you know, nobody got hurt. Everything was, I mean, like I said before, I mean, the last thing you want from either side for the guys to end up getting hurt and things like that. We laugh about it now. We're kind of joking around. It's like telling Axe I was going to go after him. But, you know, it's like I said, it's one of those things. I mean, we have Tassoni also here. I mean, he was the one that had to wear it. But, you know, like I said, I mean, that was in the past. You know, I think we all, just like you said, I mean, each one of us has teammates on different teams. And like I mentioned before, I mean, the last thing you want to do is for a guy you're going to be with 6 months out of the year get injured and something like that.
Did you see any of those guys, any of your teammates, when you were out there? When you were on the field, I mean, did you spot Axford or Henderson?
I actually did. I spotted both of them. You know, Greeny's a little smaller. I wasn't able to see him.
Apparently, he was on the bottom of the pile.
Yeah, well, that doesn't help him. No, I actually spotted him. You know, like I said, I mean, we're smart guys. You know, they're smart guys. They were able to stay in the back also and just kind of make sure you didn't wire one from behind you. But, you know, like I said, I mean, that's how competitive it is. You know, that's how competitive it is in the first week of March. And, you know, that's how much guys care about playing for their country.
Well, it's not just lip service, is it? I know you really wanted to participate. You made sure that you were ready with your off-season regimen. And now as you come back, what's the plan moving forward? I mean, you're obviously on a particular path to start opening day, which would be another great honor. But just talk about you and the rest of the spring right now and what you're hoping to accomplish.
You know, just get that pitch count up. You know, I think it's, you know, go out there every 5 days, you know, work on the command and the off-speed stuff is one of the things that are last to come. But, you know, they felt great today. You know, it's just a matter of, you know, keeping that momentum, finding that rhythm, release point, and getting everything together for opening day.
Well, the numbers look good. 45 pitches, 4 innings, just 1 run. 5 strikeouts. Thanks for coming on with us, and good luck the rest of the way, Giovanni.
Thank you.
That's Giovanni Gallardo, and always great to visit with him. And it's been fun to watch him mature over the years and just evolve into one of the premier starters in the big leagues.
Yeah, 27 years old, and has a lot of weight on his shoulders this year. I mean, he's going to end up having more service time than any one of the Brewers starters, going forward this year. And you always knew he was the ace, but this year, he comes out of spring training with that moniker.
And watching his closer, John Axford, try to go 1, 2, 3 through this Diamondbacks batting order in the 5th. The lone blemish was the Gerardo Parra home run. That was the first batter Gallardo faced. And it was not a cheapie either. Hit it into the deep right center field berm area. It's our only tally so far. And so far, the only hit for the Diamondbacks.
John Axford looks like he has his pretty good stuff tonight. Look at that fastball right at the knees. That's when you know Axford feeling pretty good about his mechanics.
Now we're hoping to catch up with John Axford after his outing today. And a strike call. Good inning for the Axeman. 1, 2, 3 with a strikeout. 1-0 D-backs.
I don't think I'd even call that a crescent moon. That's more of a fingernail clipping moon, right? Not either a waning gibbous, I believe. I don't know. Hey, residents of Milwaukee, Ozaki, Racine, Washington, and Waukesha counties can purchase half-price tickets to Brewers games versus the Pirates and Cardinals April 29th through May 3rd. Some restrictions apply. Save 50% on tickets at brewers.com/5county.
Great crowd here tonight at Salt River Fields. Now in its 2nd year of existence, this facility hosts 2 teams, the Diamondbacks and the Colorado Rockies. Tonight it's all D-backs. Zeke Spruill is on the mound for Arizona. Arizona got 4 shutout innings from Randall Delgado. J.J. Putz worked a scoreless 5th, and now Spruill takes over. You see his numbers last year at Double-A Mississippi.
Yeah, good
Southern
numbers.
League.
Yep, a 367 earned run average. Another big, tall right-hander coming out of that bullpen. Yeah, Spruill, another guy involved in that trade for Justin Upton, another pitcher.
So the pitcher goes to the mound wearing a wristband, which is a no-no. Players can wear them, but not pitchers. Can't have anything. Can't wear a watch.
Yeah,
Any
right.
shiny objects. No batting gloves. Can't wear batting gloves. Now, permanent art is okay.
Tattoos.
Yeah, you can have a tattoo.
Can't even have a long piece of leather hanging off of your glove. They consider that to be distracting.
Nori Aoki ready to lead off. 3rd time through the batting order. Little chopper out to second. This is Hill. And Aoki is retired. Now, what's the latest as the Packers dip into the free agent market? You can follow Paul Emick's coverage, plus read his daily annual checkups at foxsportswisconsin.com. Spring training baseball in the Cactus League today. Brian Anderson with Bill Schroeder. Our producer Michael Vetter, Mitch Riggin directing today's game. And it's 1-0 Arizona on a Gerardo Parra homer, which came in the first inning. Gallardo's first batter faced. The Brewers have 3 hits. Segura has 1 of them. All of the hits are singles. Aoki and Segura started the game with back-to-back singles, but Delgado stranded runners at second and third, and nothing but zeros on the board since for D-backs pitchers. Meanwhile, Brewers pitchers, Gallardo and Axford, they've retired 15 consecutive batters after that home run by Parra. Good day's work for John Axford.
Looks good in the beard. It's a good look for Axe. Kept the short hair, added the facial hair. Henderson still have his facial hair?
Yes, he does.
Beard?
We're going to see that in a matter of moments. Henderson next to pitch.
There he is.
Looking very Canadian with that big beard.
They've trimmed him up a little bit since we've seen him last.
I think Axford had to, because he's now a father of 2. You know, he's got a new baby in the house, and that's good gripping material.
Yeah.
2 Canadians. Axford on the right from Ontario, and Henderson on the left. He's from Alberta, Calgary, Alberta. Segura takes a strike called on the outside corner. Good fastball.
Sproul's got a good sinker. Yeah, low 90s. There it is. Catching plenty of the plate. Had a little dip to it at the end, and Segura caught looking.
So 2 men are out. That'll bring up Ricky Weeks. The Diamondbacks pitchers have recorded 8 strikeouts so far tonight. I will say this, meaning no disrespect to Salt River Fields, but these are not big league standard lights.
And you know what? These are probably the best of the lights that there are down in the valley,
Right.
which is why, you know, Ron Renick, I asked him about night games. I imagine that's one of the reasons. I mean, you know, you don't have the lights that you're used to in the regular season, and a little bit more difficult to see, but this is a beautiful ballpark. It's about as good as it gets down here.
It is. Hitters talk about being dark at night. And we have iris control on the camera, so it doesn't show that way, but
Got what?
iris control.
Letting light in and out?
Yeah, you can open it up or close it down. Watch this, Rock. This is iris control. Ready? See how it's irising down?
Making it look dark?
Yeah, that's really what it looks like. Fun with television. And a low throw dug out by Goldschmidt. Nice play. And the inning ends. We'll put a headset on the Axeman from the dugout. An interview coming up with the Brewers closer. Canadian to another. Jim Henderson on the mound, replacing John Axford. Axford with a scoreless inning with a strikeout, and now Henderson back with the ball club after a trip in the WBC with Team Canada.
Yeah, big part of the turnaround for that Brewers bullpen. About the time Jim Henderson showed up, 36 appearances, 352 earned run average. You can see the strikeouts to innings pitched. Outstanding work for Henderson a year ago. Looks like he's going to be the setup man for John Axford this year.
And it's 1-0 Diamondbacks. 15 in a row retired by Brewer pitching. John Axford had the last 3 of those after Gallardo's first 4 innings, and we welcome John Axford to our broadcast here from the Brewers dugout. And Ax, great to have you with us. You've got a buddy, I see, Ed Cedar.
Yeah, he just wanted to come by and ambush real quick, but
it's a video bomb, right?
It was a quick convo.
How'd you feel about your outing today, Ax?
Great. Yeah, it's great to come back and play for the Brewers once again after a wonderful week, I guess, with the WBC and Team Canada. Pitching 2 days in a row there, 2 days off. Felt wonderful to be back out there again.
Had to feel really good pitching for your native homeland. Tell us about the experience.
It was fantastic. I feel like I keep sounding like a broken record every single time I say it, but it's been 10 years since I played for Team Canada. When I was a sophomore in 2003. It was just a quick Pan Am qualifier, best 2 of 3 series. So it was fantastic to be able to put on that uniform again and represent my country.
Talk about maybe what you worked on this year in the off season, things maybe you concentrated on, because you certainly looked like you had your good stuff out there tonight.
Yeah, I've been feeling really comfortable lately. Pretty much all spring training, actually, and better each and every single outing. I've really just been working on being comfortable, and staying loose out there on the mound. I feel that last year I was getting a little tight at times, getting tight on the front side, really locking out my front side, not feeling loose. And I think that sometimes coordinates with the backside of the arm and, maybe just wasn't coming through. But right now I've been really loose, really relaxed each time I come set. Just take that deep breath and it feels good.
John, when you look at last season, what do you think was the turnaround for you? You had a fantastic finish to the season. You break down the mechanics a little bit. I know Lee Tunnell and you worked a lot when you came up, but when you're in the game and when you're the closer and trying to work things out mechanically, how tough is that?
It is tough. You try not to think about those things mechanically when you're out there on the mound, but if something's wrong, it's tough not to think about it, or it's tough not to kind of battle or fight through at those moments too. Really, I think Lee was a big portion. He definitely helped out when he was there. Not to say that Stan wasn't great down there. We love Stan. Stan was fantastic. But, I think knowing that Lee was the one that really helped me when I was in the minor leagues, really helped mold the pitcher that I am and the mechanics that I had, that it was nice to have him back, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of that perseverance that I had. Talking
about Lee Tunnell, the Brewers bullpen coach, longtime pitching coordinator for the Milwaukee Brewers, and now as you start a season anew, and do you give yourself a chance to look back and think about what you've been able to accomplish? I mean, 49 consecutive saves, obviously the longest streak in Brewers history, 4th longest in Major League Baseball history. That is something you can always boast the rest of your life.
Yeah, you get to look back a little bit. Unfortunately, that was at the beginning of the year, when that streak was broken up. And a lot of things happened after that. A couple tough months. I had a son that was born. We had some good guys coming up through the bullpen, specifically Jim Henderson. So the reflective parts that I try to look back at obviously are more towards the end of the season. I like to carry that momentum into this season, into spring training right now, and just carry that through the rest of the year and not really worry about anything else.
Yeah, for what it's worth, John, I love the beard. Talk about how you and Henderson came up with the idea, or was it just a coincidence?
I think it was just a coincidence. We both kind of had a little bit of a I don't know if it was a beer, just scruff going at the time at the Baseball Canada event in January that we attended just before coming down to spring training, and we both kind of just discussed that maybe we were going to be sporting beards together. It's cold up there. I know it's even colder in Calgary than it is where I live, so sometimes you just got to stay warm, and a scarf won't do it for you. So a beard's got to do the trick.
Looks like they're a little bit more trimmed up now than they were a couple weeks ago.
I think Jim's always trimming his. I just keep laying mine down and combing it. It's actually hasn't been trimmed yet, so there's probably a few gray stragglies hanging out somewhere.
Talk to us about Jim Henderson, your buddy and your Canadian buddy, and came on the scene last year. He provided a great impact to this team down the stretch, and a great fastball, and what a story of perseverance.
Definitely. 10 years in the minor leagues, I don't know if I would have been able to do that. It really is a story of perseverance, and I honestly really do attribute a lot of my my success towards the end of the season to him.
This offseason, and as Henderson issues his second walk. But acquiring some free agents, he went on a trade market. And Bert Badentop is now a Brewer from Tampa Bay. You got Mike Gonzalez, Tom Gorzelani, some veteran pitchers and 2 left-handers. Talk about the makeup of the bullpen.
It's great. You know, it's great to have different characters coming in once in a while. You know, the bullpen's always made up of different cats and different guys. You know, it's interesting to see the conversations that are going to happen on a daily, but it's good to have that turnover, I feel, at times. You know, the way our bullpen went last year, it just seemed like success just didn't want to follow. So, you know, it's good to get some new faces in there, especially some veteran guys and guys that have had some success, especially success recently. So it'll be a nice turnaround.
John, we've been asking guys, you know, the length of spring training this year. I mean, you guys got here, what, mid-February, and opening day is another 2 weeks away. Do you feel like you're ready? And what do you do to keep yourself focused, you know, for the next 2 weeks to get ready for the season?
Well, I'll tell you one thing for sure, that WBC definitely helped out. You know, that 1 week with some different guys, you know, playing with a different team. They're still doing the same things, but it kind of breaks it up a little bit, which was really nice. But yeah, I'm feeling great. You know, having those back-to-back days in WBC, throwing tonight, I'm feeling solid. I'm feeling good. Really getting antsy and getting ready to get up to Wisconsin and start opening day.
All right, how about we wrap up this interview with, as that one is lined into left center, and it is down, and it could score a pair. And 2 will come in for the Diamondbacks as that one goes into the left center field gap. So it's now 3-0. But Axeman, we'll wrap it up. I wanted you to tell us and tell our audience how you got to Arizona. That's a pretty good story. You went RVing this year.
Yeah, I did. The main reason, you know, I should preface, was my oldest son had some ear issues, a lot of ear infections in the off season, so we were unsure about flying, so we just didn't know what to do, and figured the next best thing was to drive, and we sure weren't going to drive 32 hours in a car or a minivan or anything like that, so decided to strap it up and rent ourselves an RV and went on the way down. It was actually a lot of fun.
But I hear you jumped ship early. Is that correct?
Yeah, you can only miss so many days of throwing and working out. So we had the set plan of I was going to drive for 3 days. However far we got, I was going to try to fly out from there, and we had it set. You know, if it was bad weather in Canada, a lot of snow, if we weren't be able to travel, I had flights, tentatively arranged in St. Louis and Joplin, Missouri, Springfield, Missouri, Tulsa, Oklahoma, and I think Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Those 5 all right in a row were, you know, kind of down the same stretch. I ended up making it to Tulsa, so I drove about 1,200 miles or so, and the family went on from there.
Family man.
You dropped him in Oklahoma. I have this image of you like Dumb and Dumber on the moped the rest of the way.
Yeah, well, no, I picked up an airline flight instead.
Well, that's a cool story, man. You're a one of a kind, Axe, and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you very much, gentlemen.
All right, John Axford spent a little time with us as Jim Henderson is struggling a little bit on the mound here. A couple of walks and a 2 RBI double. Gerardo Parra has all 3 RBIs today for the Diamondbacks. Henderson didn't see him. He takes off early and an easy steal at third base.
They had him picked off because Segura snuck in behind him. And had Henderson seen him, they would have had him picked off with no problem. But Henderson having a tough time out there. Well, check it out. You spin around right there. You've got the pickoff and no chance for Lally at third base.
Well, Henderson more focused on his pitching right now. He has not been pitching well. He struggled in the Classic. Came on in the 8th inning of that game against the United States. Canada with the lead. The United States scored 7 runs in that 8th inning.
Doing it, you know, in a way that really he never struggled before. I mean, throwing, you know, pitches out of the zone, walking batters. I mean, that was not a problem for Henderson last year. That's why he was so, you know, effective late in the game. He'd come in, just pound the strike zone with sliders and fastballs, and he's already walked 3 in this inning. Very unusual for him.
3 walks and a double. 3-0 Diamondbacks as Parra is now at third. Runners at the corners for Arizona. And that'll bring up Aaron Hill. Aaron Hill, who posted 2 cycles last year in the same season, and they were 11 days apart, and one of them was in Milwaukee at Miller Park. To hit for the cycle once in a career is a milestone. To do it twice in a season is unheard of.
And from a second baseman. How many second basemen have hit for the cycle? I don't know, but he's kind of throwing it out there. Good hitter, though.
First time ever a player's hit for the cycle twice in the same season. And now you don't call it the cycle twice, you call it the bicycle.
Bicycle, yeah.
He may be the only one to ever do it, Aaron Hill. Lally in a discussion with Jim Henderson. Well, this is when you go with the "this is what spring training is for" line, trying to work it out. Brandon Kinsler is down in the Brewers bullpen. We're scheduled to see a number of the big league relievers for the Brewers. Kinsler and Bert Badenhop is on the list today. Mike Gonzalez, the left-hander, newly acquired left-hander from the Nationals. We'll see if Henderson can get things going here. One ground ball would do him a world of good if the Brewers could turn a double play. Arizona has just 2 hits. Parra has them both, and he's driven in all 3 runs. A home run in the first and a 2 RBI double just a moment ago. Prado takes off. Lolly's throw to second. He's late. Second stolen base of the inning.
Yeah, not much of a chance for Blake Lally behind home plate. Yeah, you're right. When you're struggling out there in the mound to throw strikes, you really don't pay much attention to the base runners. Diamondbacks are another team with speed and power. They will run and they can take you deep.
So Parra and Prado with stolen bases in this inning, and the Brewers will bring their infield in. And a 2-0 count to Aaron Hill. That one's in the air to center field. Gomez drifting back. This will be plenty deep to score the run. And a sacrifice fly and an RBI for Aaron Hill. The Diamondbacks lead it 4-0. First out of the inning for Henderson.
And really the struggles that Henderson is experiencing right now is with the fastball. We haven't seen too many breaking pitches. The slider was a big pitch for him. Here comes Ron Renicky. Apparently Henderson has reached his pitch limit. Another rough outing for him tonight.
So a pitching change here in Scottsdale. Brandon Kinsler up next. We'll set him up when we continue.
For over 25 years. On Fox Sports Wisconsin is presented by Miller Lite. It's not just a good time, it's Miller time. By Cousins. Have a better day at Cousins Subs. Cousins Subs. Better bread, better subs, better day. And by Badger Mutual Insurance. Protecting people's dreams since 1887. Downtown Phoenix all lit up tonight on a Wednesday night. We're about 30 minutes north in Scottsdale. Salt River Fields, a talking stick, the spring training home of the Arizona Diamondbacks. Bunch of Brewers fans here tonight, part of a big crowd. They're going to be pushing 10,000 here tonight. Well, the Diamondbacks have a 4-0 lead. 3 runs have scored in this inning, and now Brandon Kinsler will try to get through the 6th inning.
Yeah, very limited opportunities for Kinsler last year, only 14 games. 3-0 record. When he came in, good things happened. A 378 earned run average. Great stuff by Kinsler. It's just a matter of him being able to stay healthy.
And Kinsler comes high and tight. Snap throw to third. And Prado is back. Boy, that one buzzed the tower of Paul Goldschmidt. We're hoping to catch up with Doug Melvin in the 7th inning. Get his thoughts on the day's activity. The big news today, Carlos Gomez signed to a contract extension, a 3-year extension, so he'll be locked up for the next 4 seasons. An exciting day for Carlos Gomez.
Yeah. Well, if he can duplicate what he did last year in the second half, I think the Brewers are going to have a pretty good deal. Some kind of numbers for Gomez last part of the season.
Ball and 2 strikes on Paul Goldschmidt. There's been a lot of talk around Diamondbacks camp. Should Arizona and their general manager Kevin Towers, former GM of the Padres, should they try to lock up Paul Goldschmidt long term? Coming off a big year last year. Burst onto the scene in 2011. He did have a poor second half last season. Really tailed off. He was on a pace to put up some monster numbers. But he was a big part of the Diamondbacks push in 2011. Hit a home run in the postseason against Milwaukee.
That's the tough thing about the big leagues, being consistent, because with the scouting reports and the way the scouts look at you, I mean, if you have a hole in your swing, they're going to find it. Well, Goldschmidt, I'm sure, is going to be able to bounce back nicely this year. Got a nice swing and good power to right field.
Brewers have their infield end with a runner at third. Kinsler deals low. Goldschmidt doesn't bite. That is 3-2. Oh, this game was moving along. Very good pitching in tonight's game. Giovanni Gallardo gave up a leadoff home run and then retired 12 straight to finish out his day. 4 innings, 5 strikeouts for Gallardo. At one point, the Brewers retired 15 consecutive Diamondbacks. There's a swing and a miss. Kinsler strikes out Goldschmidt. Out number 2. Hey, a reminder, Sunday NASCAR heads to Bristol for the first short track race of the season. Fox Sports exclusive coverage of Sprint Cup Series racing begins Sunday 11:30 p.m. Central. So Kinsler with 2 away. And a swing and a foul from Montero.
There's that live fastball for Brandon Kinsler. I mean, Montero, very good fastball hitter. A good high ball hitter. And Kinsler has some good giddy up and good movement on that pitch. Got a good fastball. Slider to go with it. Just has to stay on the mound. Stay healthy.
That one's hit hard into left center, a base hit, and that will produce a run. The 4th run of the inning, and the Diamondbacks now lead 5-0.
A big difference up in the zone as opposed to down in the zone for a left-handed hitter. Check it out. Down in the zone, Montero able to get to it. Up in the zone, he couldn't. Nice short stroke. And a base hit to drive in a run. Guy can hit.
It's going to close the book on Jim Henderson. Rough day today for Henderson. Just a 1/3 of an inning. And 4 earned runs allowed. So back to the tool shed goes Jim Henderson, trying to work out some kinks.
All 3 of the walks that he issued came around to score. Those are killers. something that he doesn't do very often.
A.J. Pollock. Pollock batting for the third time. He's 0 for 2. And a line shot right off Kinsler's leg. Able to recover for the out. Boy, that one had to sting a little bit. Let's hope he's all right. The inning ends on a bullet off the bat of A.J. Pollock. Yikes. Now, Cactus League Baseball, great to have you with us today. Brian Anderson, Bill Schroeder, and Doug Melvin joins us, Brewers general manager. And hope you'll spend the inning with us. We'll talk a little baseball and catch up on all things Brewer. And right out of the gates, Carlos Gomez is leading off and talk about the contract extension today for Gomez.
Yeah, it was good to get that done. And in the last few years, we've lost a few players to free agency, and Carlos is going to be a free agent at the end of the year. And, you know, you get a young, physically skilled player like Carlos. It's important for us to try to make every attempt to keep him, and he was on board. He's enjoyed his time here, and now I feel pretty good about our ball club up the middle with LaCroix, Maldonado, young catching, young shortstop Segura. Ricky Weeks is still under 30 years of age, and two center fielders really, Carlos Gomez and Logan Schaefer. So that's a hard part of the ball club to find good, talented players. So getting him signed to a contract for the next 4 years, we feel pretty good about that. And now you have some cost certainty, and you can focus on some other parts.
Yeah, not just what he does on the field, but he injects a lot of enthusiasm in that dugout, the clubhouse, around the batting cage. That says a lot about that guy.
Yeah, well, he's a high-energy guy, and he has fun playing the game. And, you know, when I brought him into Ron Renicke's office to tell Ron, and Ron didn't know till this afternoon about 2 o'clock or 2:30. He told Ron to continue to push him, and that he doesn't want to just sit back and say, I have a contract. He wants to go out there and become one of the better center fielders in the game. And his performance over the last, year, and when he took over for Niger a little bit, he really performed very well in all aspects. But someone that has the tools that he has, speed and power, they're hard to find.
Your assessment of spring training so far, it's a long one. You've got the World Baseball Classic to deal with. You guys had more players involved than any other team. How has that affected spring?
Yeah, well, people have asked me, how's the team look? And I said, I haven't really seen it that much. But the one thing with our club is that I'm encouraged by is our pitching. We've only given up 3 hits tonight, and we've given up the fewest hits of all pitching at all 30 teams in spring training. And that's hard to do. It usually doesn't come from a team in Arizona, but we've given up the fewest base hits. We have the second, I think, lowest batting average against. Even tonight, with 5 runs but 3 hits. So we've got to get our walks down. So our pitching, we've been encouraged by that. On the offensive side, we just haven't had the guys here that are going to be a big part of our offense. Aramis Ramirez has been out with the injury. Jonathan LaCroix and Ryan Braun both playing in the Classic. And so the offense, we're giving opportunities to other players, and it's opened up some opportunities. Chris Davis had a chance to play because Ryan wasn't here, and that. But hitting, and we will hit. I don't think that'll be the issue.
Well, I know you're a big proponent of the World Baseball Classic as Gonzalez goes back up the middle, and a base hit for Milwaukee. First two have reached here against left-hander Joe Patterson. But, Doug, we had a great conversation the other day about the World Baseball Classic and how the game is growing internationally. And sometimes we don't recognize it or feel it here in the United States. But you come with an interesting perspective, being Canadian and watching the game grow.
Yeah, when you're from another country, you really look at it, it's like your Olympics. And I remember specifically growing up in Canada when the NHL, every player in the NHL was Canadian-born. And then a player by the name of Williams out of Minnesota, and I forget his first name, was the first U.S.-born player. And then the game grew in the United States, and now there's more NHL teams, I think, in the United States than in Canada. And Panama was not in this year. South Africa was not in, but Brazil was and Spain was. So that goes to show you that two clubs have grown their baseball programs. And the Classic provides funding for some of these team programs. It takes time, but if you look at every other sport, it's internationally, has a lot of international players, and ours has always been a lot of Dominican Republic players from Venezuela. But the game has grown in Canada. When I grew up, Ferguson Jenkins was the big Canadian player, but they have some pretty good players and MVP players in Morneau and Joey Votto both have been the most valuable players coming from Canada. So the game's grown. I like the Classic personally. I don't like the fact I don't know when the good time is to play it, but I do like it. I see the enthusiasm with these teams playing. Italy and Puerto Rico had a great game tonight, went into the 8th inning. And one of our pitchers, Hiram Burgos, had an outstanding game tonight. I believe he pitched 4 in the 3rd inning. So I like it. I know managers and coaches, they live in fear of it, but I've always said we have as many injuries before the Classic ever played. So.
And we've had our fair share of spring training injuries to discuss over the years. And I think as the Classic continues to build, and it seems like the players who participate in it really want to do it. I mean, Gallardo said as much earlier, and we talked to John Axford. He said as much. And I know that it is tough on the manager and the coaching staff, but I have to ask you, what was going through your mind during that brawl between Canada and Mexico as 6 of your players are out there in the middle of that scrum?
Well, I didn't want Giovanni and Marco to get hurt because I know how Canadians fight. So I was more concerned about them because I saw a couple of guys grabbing guys by the collar and
pulling sweaters over there.
Yeah, they looked like they were on skates, but. Yeah, it's unfortunate that it happened. The rules are different. I think that I got carried away a little bit in that regard. But yeah, you get a little bit nervous. I saw, you're looking for your players, and the first thing, Gord Ash was at the game, and Gord just sent me a text. There's a big brawl on the field, and he was trying to. Should have sent Gordy out there to pull a few guys off the pile.
He would have mixed it up a little bit, right?
Yeah.
Crosby down on strikes.
Is it a concern for you that both of your catchers are not with the team? It could be a couple of weeks. Catching, your starting rotation. Is that an issue for you guys?
Yeah, Jonathan was so excited about going, and I think Martin Maldonado he's not catching with Puerto Rico, so he's playing a little bit of first base and not catching, and probably he might have been the one that could have stayed, but again. We don't discourage them if they want to play. We really don't discourage the player from playing because they may not get that opportunity again in representing their country in the Classic. They do take a lot of pride in that. And I know Carlos felt bad that he did not go with the Dominican Republic team. He talked to me about that when we were negotiating his contract. But yeah, having catching not there, but the other part of it is. We do have to find out who's our catchers coming into spring training after Maldonado and LaCroix. The take on spring training, a lot of people say, what's the team with the spring training? We know who the top 18 players are, right, or 20 players. Spring training is all about player 20 through 40. And that's what it's all about, to try to find out how much depth you have. Who are we going to do? We have enough outfielders if an outfielder at the big league level got hurt? Who's our infielders if one of the infielders got hurt? pitching depth, catching depth. It's all about player 20 to 40 is the most important thing. Trying to find the depth of your club. We've already made those decisions on your top 18 to 20 players, and we've made those decisions. And you could make a trade in spring training that very seldom happens. It's usually a tinkering of it, adding a bench player, a role player. We had a very important one a couple of years ago, and Nigel Morgan 2 or 3 days before spring training left. So we're always open to to adding to the roster if we can.
You got to be real happy about. We got a break.
Inning is over on a strikeout from Patterson, and Mike Gonzalez, one of Doug Melvin's offseason acquisitions, coming into the game to pitch. We'll talk roster when we continue.
Salt River Fields at Talking Stick. The Arizona Diamondbacks with a 4-0 lead. Hey, Saturday, April 6th, the Brewers take on these Diamondbacks at 6 o'clock. First 20,000 fans, 21 and older, will receive a Brewers pen schedule, courtesy of Potawatomi. Visit Brewers.com for tickets.
Now there is Mike Gonzalez, one of the newest Brewers, signed by Doug Melvin. Doug, kind enough to join us here in the booth as we break down the WBC, and let's talk about the Brewers roster. And Mike Gonzalez was a guy that pitched very well for the Washington Nationals, and talk about the progression of getting him signed in a Brewers uniform.
Yeah, you know, we haven't had two left-handers in a while, and we've always used one. We've always had the attitude that if they got to get both left-handed and right-handed hitters out, but Mike's a guy that's probably going to be more a situational guy and get left-handed hitters out, so he'll probably face 3 right-handers this inning. But he needs to do that. He needs to face right-handed hitters too. Tom Gorzolani added to the staff also, but it'll give Ron a few more options, lefty-righty matchup when you know, the 7th, 8th innings are always an uncertainty in most ball clubs unless you have that lights-out 8th inning guy. And, you know, with left-handed, right-handed hitters, he gives a little bit of an option. And also Burke Badenhop, he's pitching tonight, too.
Supposed to.
And he's a right-handed ground ball, sinker ball type guy. A little bit on the Cameron Lowe type of ability. And he's got some experience. I like the way he works. But Mike's out here. He's going to get his innings in here the next 2 weeks in the bullpen. We'll see how it shapes up and if Ron wants to give him specific roles or he's going to have them perform according to, or use them according to their performance. So, so the bullpen, there's obviously some new faces there, and veteran guy. Mike Gonzalez, a veteran guy. Both he and Tom were part of that 97 win team that Washington had last year.
It's been pretty impressive watching some of these young relievers that you have been able to get in this organization. There's some big arms in camp this year.
Yeah, we. Mike Olmsted's a player we put on the roster. He was a free agent. Was in the Boston system. Johnny Hellwig is a big power arm, ground ball guy. Part of the Zach Greinke trade. We sent Johnny Hellwig and Tyler Thornburg out, and we want them to start because it's important for them to continue to get innings, but they're going to be the depth of our starting pitching and that. So, the bullpen, you always, in spring training, you see a lot of bullpen guys. Once the starters get stretched out like we do with Giovanni and have to get Marco and Michael Fires stretched out, then we have to get some of those young guys, Jed Bradley, Taylor Youngman, back over on the other side.
Scooter Gennett making the play. A lot of changes here for the Brewers. Scooter Gennett, one of the top infield prospects. We'll take you around the field here. There's Bobby Crosby after an at-bat last inning. Donnie Murphy takes over at short. And young Blake Davis up from the Brewers minor league camp to play third. Gendel, the lone original starter, still in the game in left field. Logan Schaefer in center. And there's Josh Prince in right. And Anderson De La Rosa doing the catching. And Doug, I want to get back to Logan Schaefer quickly, because you mentioned his name early in the contract extension for Carlos Gomez. I thought it was interesting, and Ron Renicky told us that you guys brought Logan in today to have a discussion with him after you announced the signing of Carlos Gomez. Why was that, and why did you feel that was important? And what do you think of Logan Schaefer at this point?
Well, we think Logan Schaefer is a very talented outfielder. He can play center field in the big leagues too, and we just wanted to make sure that he didn't get discouraged, because I've seen before where a player signs and he knew Carlos was going to be a free agent. He might have thought his opportunity would come next year, and we just need to make sure that he's not hanging his head, that he's still a big league player. And the Diamondbacks have the perfect example in their left-hand hitting outfielder Parra.
Right.
And they've gone out and acquired Jason Kubel and acquired different guys, and he's played a real key role in their ball club, playing all three outfield positions. So Logan's quite capable of playing all three outfield positions, and with Braun and Gomez and Aoki and Logan, we feel pretty good about those four outfielders. And we really like Caleb Gendel a lot too. Caleb's had a good spring, but we like him a lot too. He has some power. He can run. He can play all three outfield positions. But we thought it was important to bring Logan in, because I've seen a number of times before. We didn't want the writers running up to him and saying, well, what do you think about your future with Carlos Gomez signing? So,
you know how those writers can be.
Oh, man, I know.
But it's fascinating to me that, and you and Rock, I mean, you're as old school guys as it gets, but can you imagine a day back in even in your playing days, Doug, when a manager brings in a young outfielder and kind of explains everything? And that's just the way the game is played now, and you guys do a very good job at communicating with your players.
Yeah, I'm not sure Billy Martin and Earl Weaver would have done that. But no, it's today you have to do it. I think it's important. It's better for us to do it than to come to the park tomorrow and say Logan would like to talk to us. And you can't do it with every player, but we thought it was important to do with Logan.
Yeah, talking about utility guys, you're probably very glad right now that you signed Alex Gonzalez back. Given your first base situation, he looks pretty good at first, incidentally. I mean,
yeah, I think you could put him anywhere there in the dirt, and he'll be fine. He's so poised and calm and confident in his fielding ability and his hands, his throwing ability. And he's gone over there at first base. He won't have any trouble. He's got quick feet, quick hands. I've seen him make the double play at the second base. I've seen him throw to home and infield in. And he'll get some at bats too. So, and he's a good veteran guy. He's great with the younger players. He's got a quiet leadership about him. And I know it has to be tough on him because he's been a shortstop his whole career for 14 years. But we knew coming in that Gene Segura was going to be the shortstop, and felt that unless he just fell completely on his face, that we had to go with Gene. He showed enough last year and winter ball, and also this spring. He's had a nice spring for us too. But no, it's great to have Alex, and until Corey Hart gets back, I think Alex is going to, unless the roster changes some, we'll probably get most of the playing time. But Taylor Green's been getting some playing time at first base, and that, but it's great to have that kind of versatility. The National League, you need versatility.
Mike Gonzalez strikes out Didi Gregorius for the second out.
Doug, are you at all concerned that you're pretty right-hand dominant, not only in your starting lineup, but I guess you're looking for some lefties on the bench?
Yeah, that's always been something that we feel that we haven't been as left-handed. When Aoki came along, he's in the lineup, and Logan can go out there and play. Logan Schaefer can play level. We've always been that way. But the one thing is our right-handed bats, we're not big splits. Our right-handed hitters are all pretty good hitters and hit right-handed pitching. And, you know, so that it really doesn't bother me that much in that regard. The one thing we run into problems with is trying to find good bench players or veteran bench players because we just can't provide enough at-bats for them. You know, we talked about Lyle Overbay. We talked about Juan Rivera. Those were two guys we were very close to signing, and they signed with the Yankees and with Boston because the DH. They can get 100 and some at bats. If you look at our guys off the bench the past few years, probably Akatse, you know, Travis Ishikawa, you know, they get 175 to 200 at bats. We just can't. The DH prevents you from doing that. And the other thing prevents us is we have an everyday player at every position. So a guy coming, an outfielder that's available with some club, and you say, well, is he a guy that you'd want to sign? Well, we'd like to sign a guy, but he's going to say, well, Ryan Braun's going to play 150 games. Carlos Gomez is going to play. Aoki had 500 bats. How many at bats can you give me? You got to be up front with the guy. You can't give him too many at bats, especially without the DH. So we've lost a few players because of that, just having the lack of another 125 at bats or so.
Any discussion at all with Kyle Loesch? I know that's a big name out there, and amazing that he's still available. Where does that stand at this point?
Yeah, we haven't engaged in you know, deep conversations with him. I think everybody in baseball knows he's available. I think a lot of people find it very strange that he is still available coming off the year he did. You know, I think every teams have their reasons why, whatever reasons they are, but you know, I know that Scott Boras, we've had some conversations, but we do value that 17th pick in the first round. It's if we're a club that's not going to be engaging into the big free agents, it's hard to give up first-round draft picks. And the 17th pick, you might not know who that player is, but Cole Hamels was the 17th pick in the first round, and CC Sabathia was an 18th round pick. And last year, this offseason, the Washington Nationals traded Alex Meyer, who was a first-rounder, for Denard Span. So you can trade a first-round pick later on once you get him for a pretty good young quality center fielder, and that's so. You know, some teams we just value those. We value their picks.
Donnie Murphy makes the play at second base to end the inning. Well, Doug, we appreciate your time and always enjoy getting to discuss the roster and many other things Brewers baseball with you.
Okay, thanks, Brian. Thanks, Bill.
Doug Melvin, Brewers general manager, has been with us. Stay with us. We're coming back from Scottsdale in just a moment.
The game summary. It's been all Diamondbacks so far. Started out by Parr, a leadoff home run. And then Gallardo was set down the next 12 in a row. Gallardo threw the baseball very well, as did Randall Delgado. Delgado with good stuff, did not allow a run in 5 innings. Struck out 4. Gallardo matched him pitch for pitch after that home run. Looked good with a fastball, the curveball down in the strike zone. And then it was a big inning for the Diamondbacks, a 4-run inning that gave them their 5-0 lead. A Hara double. The big swing at the bat in that inning. So we head to the 8th as the Diamondbacks hold their 5-0 lead.
And our thanks to Doug Melvin spending an inning with us, and always fascinating to listen to Doug, and a lot on his plate right now as you see Charles Brewer pitching against the Brewers, coming up from the Diamondbacks minor league camp. See his numbers in the Diamondback system last year, but yeah, Doug is always looking at the roster. He's looking at what is available, and there could be some moves that are made as we get towards the end of spring training. And he mentioned Nyjer Morgan, and certainly the Diamondbacks know all about Morgan. Of course, had that division series ending base hit, one of the iconic hits in Brewers history against the Diamondbacks in Game 5 of the 2011 NLDS.
And Nyjer are going to be playing in Japan this year.
That's right.
How about that? How do you think Nyjer is going to go over Tony Plush in Japan? That'd be interesting.
Part of the reason Morgan is moving on from the Brewers is because of this man right here, Logan Schaefer.
Right. Schaefer right off the shin guard. He's got a pad there. Still hurts a little bit. Yeah, good to talk to Doug Melvin. A lot going on in spring training. I would imagine he was holding his breath, or continues to hold his breath throughout the WBC. And yeah, you could ask him what's going on with the starting rotation. You could ask him about trades. He's not going to say anything.
It is interesting, though, on the Kyle Lohse situation, that Doug Melvin talking about the draft pick and how valuable that draft pick is. And it's not just the pick, but it's also the money that you're allotted now. That's a new rule in baseball, the slotting of the money for the first round. So, you know, if you don't get your first pick signed and you have another pick in the first round, you can always use that money that's budgeted for the first round for your second pick, and that gives you a better chance to sign that guy. But if you sign a free agent like Kyle Lohse, you're going to lose that pick and that money, which is very important.
Very strange that Kyle Lohse is still available. 2 weeks left of spring training.
You wonder if Lohse will just hang on until after the June draft.
Yeah.
You know, if that's such a sticking point for so many teams, if he waits till after the draft, that doesn't apply anymore.
Right.
And might there be a bigger market for him? There's a strike called. Brewer strikes out Schaefer for the first out.
Yeah, good pitch by Brewer. Right on the inside corner. A little bit of late tail, caught the edge, and Brewer with his first strikeouts. Split time last year did Brewer between AA and AAA. Mobile and Reno.
Brewer facing Scooter Gennett. This guy's fun to watch. Had a chance to get to know him a little bit this spring, and boy, what a hitter he is as he takes strike 2. And he's been a lot more impressive at second base than I thought he would be, as he continues to improve his defensive skills.
He's made some very nice plays in the hole and up the middle, showing a pretty good throwing arm. He turns the double play as well as anybody. He's ready in that regard. Every now and again, you know, it's all about focus, but a ball roll up his glove. That happens to everybody, but he can hit.
Little tapper foul by Gennett. Brewers have done a lot of swinging and missing tonight. 11 strikeouts for the Brewer offense against a number of Diamondbacks pitchers. Randall Delgado started when 4 scoreless innings with 5 strikeouts. Gennett off the end of the bat into center field. And there is out number 2. Well, our Marshfield Clinic shining moment of the game. How about Giovanni Gallardo? He gave up a home run to the first batter he faced, and then he sat down the next 12 consecutive Diamondbacks,
including 5 strikeouts. And Yo had all of his pitches working for him. Saw some good cutters, some put away curveballs. That's always an important pitch for Gallardo.
Marshfield Clinic shining moment of the game. Don't just live, shine. Josh Prince, another young talent in the Brewers system in their outfield ranks. Speedy center fielder, converted shortstop. Spent last season at AA Huntsville in the Southern League. Took a mighty hack. 2 balls and a strike. These outfielders, Prince and Chris Davis, who Doug Melvin mentioned, Kentrail Davis, Caleb Gendel. These guys are all getting significant playing time this spring on the big league fields in front of the major league coaching staff. It's kind of a carryover from so many players being in the WBC, namely Ryan Braun, the most significant of the outfielders. Jim Gander still hanging in there.
Jimmy looking for an at-bat tonight.
Got the Brewers road crew up there still having a blast. Prince sounded like he broke his back.
I guess that's one of the silver linings that you have with so many players gone, that you get to see your minor league system. I love watching these guys. I mean, they have an intensity that, you know, the guys that are going to be going to Milwaukee aren't going to have really in spring training. Trying to open up some eyes. And the outfielders and the catchers. Blake Lolly's been very good. Robinson Diaz, a catcher that's not playing tonight. Great throwing arm. He can hit a little bit. And De La Rosa, very solid defensive catcher.
Got an update from the WBC. Puerto Rico defeated Italy tonight by a final of 4-3. So Martin Maldonado's Puerto Rican team stays alive. Also Hiram Burgos on that team, as Prince draws the walk, and we'll see if he's on the move here shortly. And our Miller Lite, what's on tap? Our upcoming television schedule from the exhibition season. Brewers and Angels on Tuesday, next Tuesday, and then on the 24th it'll be the Brewers and the Padres. We're back together with you March 29th from Miller Park, exhibition game against the Chicago White Sox. So we'll be picking up the visitor television feeds of the Angels and the Padres. So Rock and I are back with you next on television on the 29th of March. Of course, we'll be here for the webcast though. You can always get your fix on the old webcast.
Next webcast is Sunday,
featuring the play-by-play stylings of Bill Schroeder.
Yeah, I've been dabbling in the webcast and play-by-play. That's a lot of work, by the way.
Taking a bold step.
You've got to concentrate on that.
You're making me a little nervous. You're doing a very good job.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
Here's Anderson De La Rosa, minor league catcher for the Brewers. Brewers are off tomorrow. A full off day. There'll be a few pitchers over at Maryville, but if you're here and you're wanting to see some Brewers baseball, the minor leaguers are in progress tomorrow. They'll start games on Friday, but I think they have an inter squad tomorrow. You can go see the sea of humanity of minor league players on the back fields at Maryville Baseball Park.
Got the big sponsor party tomorrow night.
Yes, indeed.
Sponsors in town, and
it's good that we have a day off.
Right. And Friday, I'm having dinner with the folks at Miller Coors. That is going to be interesting. Jim Wright, Buddy Ty Vaughn. You don't think that's going to be a good time, do you?
I don't know. You guys have been known. Plenty of product. Brewer with a big fastball. 5-0 D-backs here in the top of the 8th. There goes Prince. And De La Rosa sends one deep center field. Back is Fry, and just enough room to make the catch. Inning over. Brewers come up empty and being shut out on a 4-hitter. On a clear night in the desert. Plenty of stargazing going on. Beautiful images from Phoenix, Arizona. We are in Scottsdale tonight. And a reminder, our Ho Chunk Gaming text question. You can send us your question courtesy of 234-234 on the text. And it's from Dave in Milwaukee. How do position players work on their skills during the off-season run?
Well, they take some time off, that's for sure. You know, you take the month of October, part of November, then you start your weight training regimen. And then the players that don't have the opportunity to work out, in Arizona or California, wherever they're from, and Latin America, they go into the batting cages, the public batting cages, and take ground balls and hit off machines. That's what I used to do when I lived in Milwaukee and was a player. Went to catch pitchers and block balls, that type of thing. And it's always important to give yourself a good month to 5 weeks of kind of recovery time, and then you start ramping up the weight training and then the baseball activities after the holidays.
See Berg Badenhop, big acquisition for the Brewers this offseason. Coming over from the Tampa Bay Rays, Keila Ka'ahue is the Diamondbacks hitter, his first at bat. Former Kansas City Royal.
And a lot of the young kids, the guys on the bubble, that bubble between AAA and the big leagues, they go to winter ball. Puerto Rico, the Mexican leagues, Dominican, Venezuelan. I went to Puerto Rico one year.
It's great baseball in the Caribbean.
Good time.
Well, Badenhop is on the mound a little later than he probably thought he would be, pitching in the 8th inning, which could be the last inning unless the Brewers come back in the 9th. He's had a terrific spring as Ka'ahue sends one to left. Gendel still out there, one of the original starters, makes a catch. Sinker ball pitcher, a ground ball pitcher, Berg Badenhop, and a strike thrower, which is very important in the middle of that bullpen.
Yep, and he had a very good season last year in the American League with the Rays. 66 appearances out of the bullpen and a 3.03 earned run average. So he did good work for Joe Madden and the Rays last year.
Here's Matt Davidson for the Diamondbacks. Badenhop's first 4 years in the big leagues was with the Florida Marlins, and one of those seasons was with Rick Kranitz, the Brewers pitching coach. Kranitz was the pitching coach under Joe Girardi with the Florida Marlins and is familiar with Badenhop. Badenhop was a 25-year-old at the time. So a little familiarity there. One of the busiest coaches this time of year, Rick Kranitz. Pitching coaches trying to find innings for all these pitchers.
Yeah.
That is no easy task. And Kranitz watching that foul ball go right over his head. Look out, Rick. Oh.
That's why Kirk Gibson and his coaching staff, they're in the dugout.
Yeah. Davidson sends one foul into that Brewers bullpen. So yeah, these coaches, they sit outside the dugout in exhibition games. Now check this guy out, the security guard. He's got a white helmet on. Coach is not wearing any helmets. So who's safer? Who's the smarter coach?
Well, the security guard is supposed to be there and watching the crowd, so he's not watching as intently.
Oh, I see.
See the way he looks up in the stands?
Oh, he's not just being distracted.
See, look at them. They're not looking. They're looking to make sure that nobody bothers, the manager.
Bouncing ball back up the middle, a base hit. So they're there for the protection of the players and coaches, you're saying?
Yeah, make sure somebody doesn't come running down and jumping on the field.
A pretty good slider from Badenhop, but able to go down and get it, bang it into center field. Good piece of hitting. What a bad pitch.
Yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Out like a light. Grandpa's got it covered, though. Don't sweat it. That's a great scene. Great image.
That's the way you babysit the little ones, right? The whole time mom and dad are gone, you let them sleep.
Yeah.
And then they go home and they're wide awake.
You speak from experience, Papa Schroeder. Well, Bill's a grandfather for the first time.
Yeah, Madeline.
You don't look old enough to be a grandfather, Rob.
I tell you, she's a doll. Wrapped right around her little finger. That's for sure. Already, she can't even say anything yet.
That's cool. Congratulations. Ball and 2 strikes. Evan Fry at the plate for the Diamondbacks. Just made a nice catch up against the wall a moment ago in center field. 29-year-old Burt Badenhop. He'll be 30 this season. Has not allowed an earned run so far this spring. This is his 5th inning of the spring. Little flare, and that will fall fair. Caleb Gendel coming in. They're going to send the runner as a fan grabbed the baseball. And they'll send Davidson back to third base. So that'll be a double for Evan Fry.
Well, a little slice job on a cut fastball in the inner half of the plate. Fan grabs it, throws it back. Too late. Can't do that. Once you grab it, just hold on to it. Can't put it back in play. You're still going to get thrown out.
That's worth a risk. We don't encourage it, but it's spring training. Fans are still getting used to the rules.
Right.
So 2nd and 3rd now with just 1 out. Brewers bring their infield in. Brett Cleveland at the plate. Diamondbacks right fielder. Now the rest of the week for the Brewers, after the off day tomorrow, they'll be at Maryville the next 2 days, Friday and Saturday, and those games can be heard on the Brewers Radio Network. Bob Euchre and Joe Block will have the call for you. And then we'll be back on the air with a webcast on Sunday. Little tapper over the mound underneath the glove of Jeanette, and this is going to score a couple of runs. So the Diamondbacks add to their lead. 2 in on a seeing eye ground ball with the infield in.
Yeah, Burt Badenhop deserves a better fate than what he's had tonight. Hasn't thrown that poorly, and he's given up a couple of runs. Look at that sinker just boring in on the hands of Clevin. Able to fight it off because of the drawn in infield and into center field. So some pretty good pitches that have ended up being base hits.
7-0 Diamondbacks on 6 hits. 3 consecutive hits here against Badenhop. And that'll bring up Nick Ahmed. Another one of the players that the Diamondbacks acquired in that Justin Upton deal with Atlanta. 7-player deal in all. We saw one of them start this game, Randall Delgado, and he was outstanding. 4 shutout innings with 5 strikeouts for the hard-throwing Delgado. Made a strong case as he's fighting for that 5th spot in the rotation. Kirk Gibson, part of an all-star coaching staff here with the Arizona Diamondbacks. I don't think any coaching staff has ever assembled as much hardware as this group. Kirk Gibson, you've got Matt Williams, Great Diamondback. Steve Sachs, new to the Diamondbacks this year, the first base coach. See Brett Butler from the AAA club. Got a couple of gold gloves represented in Alan Trammell and Matt Williams. Some MVPs. Don Baylor won the MVP.
Turner Ward next to Brett Butler. He was a Brewer. Turner Ward. Assistant hitting coach.
There's a strike called, and Badenhop punches out Ahmed for out number 2.
And finally rewarded for a good pitch. Started off the outside corner. Late movement. Caught the edge.
So the Diamondbacks media relations did some quick math for us. The Diamondbacks big league coaches, Rock, 20 all-star selections.
Nice.
8 gold gloves, 12 silver sluggers, 2 MVPs, Gibson and Don Baylor. Steve Sachs won a Rookie of the Year. I mean, it's a pretty impressive cast of coaches when you talk about guys who have been there and done it at a very high level.
Yeah. Sometimes when you have guys that have had that kind of success in the big leagues, they're not really good coaches, but those guys are. Because sometimes when you're really good and you've had a long, successful career, you don't understand how players can't hit a slider. You can't throw a slider for a strike. You can't lay off a breaking ball in the dirt. But those guys are exceptions to the rule.
Yeah, hard-working staff by all accounts.
Matt Williams can hit some home runs.
Bouncing ball to short off the bat of Marte, and that will retire the side. Couple of runs, first given up by Badenhop all spring. Last call for the Brew Crew, 7-0 D-backs. It's Souls are hanging in there. It's a beautiful night here in Scottsdale. You know, Rock, they drew over 12,000 fans to this game tonight. Great crowd.
Yeah, they only called it a sellout, and they do that just about every day here, whether it be the Rockies or the Diamondbacks.
One of the great facilities in the country, and it's an upper deck shy of being a 5-star major league ballpark. Colorado Rockies and the Arizona Diamondbacks sharing this beautiful ballpark, Salt River Fields, just inside the 101 in Scottsdale.
Then a few extra lights to light the place up.
Yeah, they got to brighten it up a little bit.
Yeah.
Hasn't seemed to bother the Diamondbacks. They have swung the bats well. 7 runs on 6 hits. They lead 7-0. And we head to the 9th, and Kentrail Davis will lead off for the Brewers. Charles Brewer back on the mound for Arizona. Showed a good fastball last inning. Kentrail, a minor league outfielder. He's a non-roster invitee to spring training. And he's had a lot of games here, and he's been impressive as he rips that one into the gap. Davis can really run. On his way to second, he'll stop there with a double. Good piece of hitting by Kentrell Davis.
Yeah, waited nicely on that fastball. Yeah, Brewers got that tailing fastball. Davis waited on it and ripped it into the gap out there in left center. Got on top of it. Nice short stride and down and through. And he was thinking about third base. And decided to hold up.
Well, the Brewers with their first extra base hit. Hits have been few and far between for Milwaukee. That's the first hit since the 4th inning for the Brewers. Correction, since the 7th inning. Blake Davis had a single. And here is Blake Davis once again, his second. Check that. Gonzalez had the single. Davis pinch ran for him. How's my scorecard looking right now?
Yeah, it's a mess like they all are at this point.
So 5 hits for the Brewers. 2 in the first. Infield hit by Ricky Weeks in the 4th. Gonzalez had a hit in the 7th, and then Kentrell Davis's double. Aoki and Segura had the 2 hits in the first inning. Davis on his way to third on the wild pitch. Well, we saw Giovanni Gallardo today, and he was very good. He gave up a leadoff home run to Parra, but sat down the next 12. Had 5 strikeouts in that 4-inning outing.
Yeah, 15 in a row set down between Gallardo and Axford.
Axford a scoreless 5th inning. Henderson had a rough night tonight. Giving up 4 runs in a third of an inning as Blake Davis draws the walk, and the Brewers with 2 on to start this 9th inning. Brewers are back at it on Friday, and this can be heard on Brewers Radio. Brett Meyer scheduled to start for the Indians. Acquired in the offseason to be a starting pitcher for Cleveland, and Chris Narveson continues his comeback trail from shoulder surgery. And he's pitched well. Don't mind the numbers there. They can be deceiving. The fact that he's strong and continuing to throw all of his pitches at this point. Drinks on us. Pitching change here in Scottsdale. In there till the bitter end and being rewarded, Brewers fans, here in this 9th inning. Back-to-back base runners for the Crew. Got a double and a walk, and now Rami Lewis next up for Kirk Gibson's Diamondbacks. See his numbers a couple of years ago with the Blue Jays. Bobby Crosby at the plate, former Rookie of the Year in the American League, trying to make a comeback with Milwaukee. Struck out his first time up. Crosby, having not played baseball the last 2 years. I asked him what he's been doing. He goes, I've been playing a lot of golf and being a father and a husband.
That's got to be a tough thing, taking 2 years off and trying to get back at it.
That one is popped up a mile high in the infield. And there is out number 1. So 1 gone. Crosby 0 for 2. Don't forget, opening day just 19 days away. 7 minutes from 18 days away in Milwaukee. The Brewers and the Colorado Rockies. Starts a 3-game series, a 6-game homestand to begin the year. Brewers have 2 exhibition games with the White Sox on the 29th and 30th, and then opening day the afternoon of the 1st. Brandon Macias getting an at-bat here tonight. Macias played for that Midwest League Championship team last year, the Wisconsin Timber Rattlers. Excellent defensive third baseman. He fouls that one away. Well, Rock, one guy we haven't seen a lot of because he's been participating with Team USA, but we can't let a broadcast get by without talking about Ryan Braun.
Doesn't that just put a smile on your face, just watching that guy go about his business? Well, you know, Doug Melvin not too concerned about, you know, the way the Brewers offense has sputtered down here in spring training, in large part because Brony hasn't been around too much. Lucroy hasn't been around, and you know, once he gets the team together in a week or so, I think things will start to turn around. But Ryan Braun, expect nothing less than those kind of numbers each and every year.
Perennial MVP candidate, and perhaps Ryan is watching the Brewers tonight in Miami as he prepares for second-round matchup with the Dominican Republic. That's going to be a terrific ball game. Probably getting his sleep right about now in Miami, right?
Absolutely. Back in his old stomping grounds. I'm sure he's sound asleep right now.
Yep. Team first. Macias down to the count 1-2 and a little flare foul. Jerry Augustine is still here, we understand, and he's hanging out with all of his friends. Must be in the front row. I told you, the guy loves the game.
He won't leave early.
No chance. His eyes are getting a little peaked, though. We had Augie on the air in the 2nd inning. As Macias bounces to third. 5-4-3 in a double play to win the game. And the Diamondbacks win 7-0. Well, the Brewers dropped to 7-10 on the Cactus League record. But some good work by some of Ron Renick's players here today. We'll be back to wrap it up from Scottsdale when we continue.